Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching or listening to us from. My name is AyoT, and this is the Naija FC Podcast, where we bring you our honest, raw, unfiltered opinions on all the hottest and latest topics in the world of Nigerian football. As always, we have an exciting conversation coming up for you. Everything from a review of this past week's action. We'll talk about some Nigerian players who impressed well. We'll talk about our Awoniyi's recovery. We're happy that he's doing well now. We'll talk about Victor Osimhen winning the Super League title with Galatasaray. Talk about the NWFL. Talk about the Super Falcons' upcoming friendly against Cameroon. And of course, we will talk about the Flying Eagles of Nigeria as they won bronze at the Under 20 AFCON 2025. But as always, I will begin by reviewing the past weekend's action and just highlighting a couple of Nigerian players. I say a couple, but it's going to be a lot of Nigerian players who did well this past weekend. I'll start with the goalkeepers. Shout out to Daniel Akpe, who made two saves for my remote Gallants in South Africa. Sebastian Osigwe was in good form with four saves for FC Lugano in Switzerland. Maduka Okoye made five saves for Udinese, but unfortunately they fell to a defeat against Juve. In defense, Ebube Duru with four tackles, 10 clearances, and 10 goals for Sunderjysk. Franklin Tebo scored, had 7 goals, 1 and 10 clearances for Salzburg. Chibuike Nwayewu with 3 tackles and 11 goals, 1 for Wolfsberger. Chidozie Awaziem kept a clean sheet for Colorado Rapids. Ibrahim Buhari with a clean sheet, 2 interceptions and 6 clearances for IF Elfsborg in Sweden. Kingsley Hisbue with 2 tackles, 2 chances created, and 7 goals, 1 for Udinese. And then Olaino with 2 interceptions and 5 clearances for Nottingham Forest. In the midfield, Wilfred Igor was on target for Christian Sud BK. Alassane Yusuf created 2 chances and also won 4 tackles for New England Revolution. Rafael Onyedika with 1 chance created and 3 interceptions for Club Brugge. Wilfred Ndidi with an assist and 6 goals for Leicester City in the Premier League. David Moses with 2 chances created, 4 interceptions, 7 tackles, and 10 goals won for Slavia Prague in the Czech Republic. Tenten Yene scored a goal for Ararat Armenia, and then Ibrahim Olawoyin got 1 goal and 1 assist for Kaykor Rizespor in Turkey. Over to the forward, Solomon John with 1 chance created for FK Pardubice. Moses Simon a goal and an assist while also completing 3 dribbles for FC Nantes. Adesunja Adesina was on target for Novi Pata. Philippe Otele got an assist for FC Basel. Babajide Akintola was on target for Kaykor Rizespor. Tony Wakeme with 3 chances created for Trabzonspor. Chrysanthus Uche was on target and also created 1 chance and won 11 doors for Getafe. Moses Ebiye was on target for Motherwell. Umfon Udo scored 2 goals for Brothers Union in the Bangladesh League. Cyriel Dessers was on target with 3 chances created for Rangers in Scotland. Yusuf Otumbajo was on target for FC Punic. Abdullahi Tanko was on target for FK Pardubice. Terem Moffi was on target, scoring a goal for OGC Nice. Chuba Akpom scored from the spot for LOSC Lille. Winsor Babajide with an assist for UDCA Tenerife. Sani Sulaiman with 1 goal for AS Trenchin. Victor Osimhen scored 1 goal and created 2 chances for Galatasaray. Tolu Arokodare was on target once again for KRC Genk. Sunday Emmanuel scored 2 goals for Mohammedan. Ojo Tolulokpe was on target for El Guna in Egypt. Gabriel Chukwudi with 5 chances created and 11 goals on for Petrojet. Yeraso was on target and also created 3 goal scoring chances for KRC Genk. And then Jonathan Okoronkwo with 2 goals and 1 assist for Hatayspor in Turkey. So those are a bunch of Nigerian players who put in good shifts over this past weekend. Shout out to all of them. If I missed anybody, please forgive me. Please forgive me. We track over 450 different players, but it is very possible for us to miss out on 1 or 2 people, even though we try our hardest not to. So please, guys, in the comments, let me know very quickly who impressed you this weekend, who impressed you, who are you happy about their performance, and if there's somebody that also underwhelmed in your opinion, feel free to let me know in the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying. Who impressed you this weekend, and who do you think maybe did not perform like you would have liked them to? Someone says Bangladesh league is crazy. Nigerian players are everywhere. Hey, we don't discriminate. We don't discriminate. Our hope and prayer is for all the Nigerian players to be playing in all the top leagues in the world. But unfortunately, reality is different from hopes or dreams. So that is it. A bunch of Nigerian players playing in Bangladesh. In fact, if you follow that league or you even just look into the number of Nigerian players that are there, trust me, you will be surprised. So yes, let me know who impressed you the most this past weekend. Who impressed you? Uche says Christantos Uche. Very, very well taken goal from Christantos Uche, I must say. Beautiful finish, beautiful finish. To wrap up a very fine season for him. A very fine season for him. It was a good finish. Played in a different position this past weekend as well. Very, very good player that has just played everywhere for his club this season. Hopefully, they can sign some other players this summer so that they don't have to use him the way they've used him this season. But it was a good performance for Crisanto Sucre and a fine goal, probably his best goal all season. I mean, he only scored like 5 goals, but probably his best goal all season, and a good one for him. Obviously after his suspension, coming back and being able to score a goal and help the team avoid relegation, a fantastic one. Faizo says definitely Osimhen for me. He's the only Nigerian player that I follow. Wow. GS says as a Gala I am here for Victor Osimhen, of course. Logistics Jeff says Osimhen. So a bunch of people are saying Osimhen. Two people said Uche. Adiola says Uche was man of the match. So love for Chrysanthus Uche, love for Victor James Osimhen. Both impressive performances. Taiwo says Alassane Yusuf has been impressive since his move to New England Revolution. People just don't rate the MLS like that. So even though he plays well, people don't really tend to pay attention to it because they feel like it's the MLS. And yeah, it's not that difficult or it's not the highest level league. Um, so that might be why people are not necessarily mentioning Alassane Yusuf, but he has definitely been playing well for New England Revolution. Just giving him credit for that one, I think is fair. Okay, at this junction, let me bring on my co-host. You guys know I don't do this alone. We're supposed to find him £10, but we'll allow him for today. Welcome to the live.
Yes, thank you for having me again. Apologies, killed it today. Nah, family, this thing. Apologies about that. So I'm happy to be here again. Good evening, guys.
Yes, yes, welcome
And
to the
as I
live.
end now, super chat enter.
Yes, thank you, Faizo. Much, much, much appreciated. So it's been like we're asking who impressed you the most this past weekend. I've run through the list. Who impressed you this weekend?
For me, I have to like go. I don't want to mention Victor Osimhen again. I have to talk about Christian Suche. Because that it was for the wrong reasons. We're talking about him about the red card and everything,
Mm,
how what he did. But now you can see his goal, well taken goal. He did so well in that game. Namashi already plays with him. So thank you. I
mm.
think he's sorry. I was always very my fine. Sorry.
Faizo said it made your fine for you.
Yes, Uche Santos actually what really did well for me. I'm really impressed with Uche Santos.
Mm, mm. No, I mean that finish. I don't know if you saw the goal. The finish, beautiful finish from the edge of the box. Beautiful goal. But we have a couple players that I wanted us to talk about today. So let's just get into it. The first one is the player that we're already talking about, Crisanto Suche.
Yeah,
Beautiful finish for him. Helped his side avoid relegation. They've now officially secured their spot in the Spanish La Liga for another
that's it.
season.
Yeah.
Fantastic year for him. This is a player that before this season, almost everybody did not have a clue who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I personally also did not know who he was. I was not watching
Yeah,
him in Quetta. I'm not going to lie to anybody that I was tracking him in Quetta. I did not
yeah.
know who he was. I heard about him before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian boy, young, joined Getafe, and the way he has just burst onto the scene, like they said for my
My
career
coach.
chat,
Yeah,
burst onto the scene, has made himself known, knocking on the door of the Super Eagles and everything. So, like,
yeah.
what can you say about the season that Crisanto Suchi has had?
For me, I would say it's like a topsy turvy, season. I would say, it's like a roller coaster because it started like house on fire, against Bilbao. Remember, come and say, "Hey, who is this guy?"
Mm.
Hey, I think Bilbao will sell it as what you call. They will sell him quickly. Getafe will
In
sell him quickly.
January, yeah.
January, can this and that. It dipped, and when he scored again after that, he said, "Hey, I'm back, I'm back." Well, we didn't see the back. But overall, I would say that he actually he did well. Despite that, a lot of people did not even know him. Making your debut, professional debut, because Quetta is like a semi-pro. making your making your professional debut and Yashua did well. I think is he deserves his flowers. And also too, he's a confident young man. He's a guy that believes he's better than anybody. I can tell you. Try and speak to him. He thinks that is the best thing after sliced bread.
Hmm.
Yes, he's so confident about his ability. He can say, "Ah, if you mention Kevin De Bruyne, forget the say he's better." I'm just trying to exaggerate, but he
No,
believes himself.
but that confidence is something that I like, because I always say, like, for me, every player, you respect your seniors, you respect your elders, but you're
Mhm.
always supposed to believe that
Yeah,
you will beat them. You have to back yourself in every situation. And
yeah,
even if you don't beat them, you raise your hand up and say, okay, no problem.
yeah,
This person
yeah,
was better than me. But then you continue to work hard to be able to reach that level and to be able to surpass that level. So for
yeah,
me, I like it. I know
yeah.
that when he didn't get called up for the Super Eagles as of the last camp, he
Hmm.
was very upset about it because he felt like he was better than some players that were selected. And
Yes,
so I
yes,
agree with what you're saying. I know that he felt he was better than some players. He was saying,
yes,
"This person over
yes,
me, how can?" But
yeah.
uh,
How can this player be ahead of him? Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
I
like
know.
the confidence. I like the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
looking forward to next season. Do
mhm.
you think he should stay at Getafe? Do you think maybe if an opportunity comes, he should take the opportunity? How are you feeling about that?
For me, it's just like it's like you're going to a market. You want to go and buy no testing. You know, and when you say no testing, you carry and go out. You
Mm,
test it, if the product is good, or because, for example, now I don't think he will scout him as a midfielder. It's hard. That's why I will disagree with you several times that this boy can play in the midfield, but in reality, I don't think his scout will call him. Oh, I can see one. He's gonna be like a first nine, or striker.
or left attacking midfielder kind of this thing.
Or striker.
Mm.
So I just think that it's difficult for you to know his position, except maybe a coach just sees that, oh, I can use this guy differently.
Mm.
I just think so. For me, I think he's probably going to be in Spain. I don't see a Premier League move,
Coming
for
for
him.
him yet. Mm.
Go be in Spain. I think he's going to join Nigeria FC if possible. Nigeria
Sevilla.
Sevilla is going to join Nigeria FC if possible, and maybe Valencia to replace Sadiq Kumar. You never know. So those are the moves that I think actually will happen for him. But not a bad season for him actually.
No,
I
no,
don't
that
think
means that. What do you say?
I don't think he should stay there. They're a selling club.
I mean, they are a selling club, but at the
They
same
sell
time,
this guy now from Marcel. Is he? No, it
this
was
guy
with them.
that
What was that? The guy that
who?
went to Marcel, the Jamaican British boy, Greenwood.
Was he in
No,
Getafe?
no, it was in Getafe.
Yeah,
It
wait.
was in Getafe.
Before, or was he on loan?
He was on loan, and so they don't.
Okay, he was in Getafe last season. That is true. Yeah, he was in Getafe last season.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
I mean, but for me, I like him. I think he had a good season. There were some highs, some high highs. I
Hmm.
remember his game against Atletico was a big high for him. Started the season very well. There were some lows like getting sent off.
Hmm.
Getafe is a club that's playing for Getafe. You know that you're on the back foot a lot of the time. You're chasing the game. You're playing
Hmm.
on the counter. You don't really get to express yourself that much. But one thing that I really like about him is one, his availability,
Hmm.
and two, his ability to just adapt and that versatility to be able to play in multiple positions is something
Hmm.
that a lot of coaches like players for. The
Hmm.
downside of it is that once you show a coach that you can play anywhere they need you, all of a sudden now they stop playing you in your actual position and they just start using you everywhere on the field because they know that you're ready to play there.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic ability to have as a player.
Hmm.
You know, if not for the way Getafe play, I
Hmm.
would have said personally, I think he should stay,
Hmm.
develop a little bit more. Because even if they want to sell him now, I mean, I've not checked his transfer value. Um, I don't know how much they will necessarily get for him at the moment.
Hmm.
So I think maybe if he stays another year, if he plays in the midfield next season now, for example, let's say he plays in the midfield next season and he
Yeah.
has a brilliant season, they
Hmm.
might be able to sell him for maybe 20-25 million after.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
might be a good thing for him to just stay. But I'm definitely very impressed with how he has played this season. I think he has shown us that he's somebody that we should be excited about. We should look forward to what he can do in the future. And I think it's Super Eagles opportunity. I don't know if he's going to be able to play this Unity Cup. We're still waiting for the list, but it's
He got invited.
he's been invited. When are they going to give us the lists?
I think it was meant to be last week, but these people, it's going to be this week because
Okay.
camp will open next week.
Yeah, I mean, if the game is on the 28th, I'll be this thing, then we need to start. Uh, People need to start traveling and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, okay, his value right now is 8 million according to
Mm-hmm.
transfer
They
market.
will
So
sell
eight
him 10.
million in 1 year to be able to get up to 8 million is even a good
Mm-hmm.
jump in his transfer value. But I think if he stays another season there and he has another good year, he can go up
Mm-hmm.
to 20. At least
I
even if
think the value will go
even
down.
if
Yes.
he stays in Getafe.
I think that will see what was said. That's Arambara. They will sell him. See, they will look for a way to sell someone. So I don't think what they did this season, I don't think they will be able to survive with that one.
Hmm.
I think they need a different approach.
Maybe, maybe these clubs it can be very interesting.
It's a yo-yo
But
club, you know.
I mean, whichever club he's going to, he needs to pick the right club because obviously, for a player just one season, if you join the wrong club,
Mm-hmm.
it can slow
And
you down or it can reduce the
make it
limelight
difficult
around
for
you or the buzz you know. But I am happy for him. I'm very happy for him, and I hope that he can continue in this vein as he
you. Yeah,
continues to progress in his career. I love
yeah.
that he's a confident young boy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he believes in himself so much. He just
Mm-hmm.
needs to continue to deliver. Um, you do it enough to the point where nobody can ignore you. There's
Mm-hmm.
no point feeling bad or feeling upset when you don't get certain opportunities, especially when you're in a sport like football. As much as football is an opinion-based game, football is
Mm-hmm.
also a game that if you are playing at the top of your game, everybody will see it.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much anybody doesn't like Osimhen, you cannot deny what he's doing. No matter how much you don't like Lukman, you cannot deny what he's doing. So I just look at it that if he can continue to perform at this high level, by God's grace, if he can play in his actual position next season
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing well, nobody can deny what he's doing. But
Yeah.
like I said, Getafe is a selling club. If they get 10 million for him, they'll take it.
They will sell him. Someone that bought 500,000 1 year, 1 million. If means I'll do that business now. I got something for 500,000, or for 400,000, and I'm saying 10 million now. With sell-on clause on it.
Hmm.
I will sell you. I will sell you. I will say bye bye to our
But yeah.
Nigerian this thing. They call him one particular name also.
Hmm. Well, let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes. They love him at Getafe. He has impressed them so much. But I mean, that's fantastic business for them, man. Fantastic
Mm-hmm.
business. It's not easy to just get that kind of cheap player that ends up being a key player for your team.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever scouted him, give kudos to that scout.
Mm-hmm.
They've done really well. Okay, let's talk about another player. After a long period out, he returned to action maybe like 2 weeks ago, and he finally got his first goal in a long time. Terem Moffi. If you guys have heard me talk about Terem Moffi in the past, you know that I like Terem Moffi as a player. I've spoken about how I think he's the best finisher of all the strikers that we have in Nigeria. This guy is deadly in front of goal. Out with an ACL injury for the longest time, and he finally scored his first goal since returning from that injury to wrap up the season. A win for his club, OGC Nice. Smith Layi, how happy or how did you feel seeing Murphy back on the score sheet?
Back, back. Our one of our Ine boys. Half in. We have to hype him small, but for me, I'm really happy for him. I think, for you to go to ACL when we were saying that this is like the season defining, that like this is a
Mm,
season defining for him, but for him to go ACL and still come back and score that goal, then he scored the second goal, the goalkeeper saved that.
yeah.
So for me, pleased with him, I'm happy for him, and he missed the whole season. Will you be able to take risk again now? It's gonna be hard. For me, that I saw that I observed him that he's getting back. He wants to do what he knows how to do best. That is good. If it's some player, they will stay in their shell,
Mm,
just enter their shell and will not want to do and take any risk again. Injury can happen, even when you are training. So I'm happy that Murphy is back, and I'm hoping that he can replace. He can, he's going to be playing the Champions League qualifiers next season. So I
mm,
hope that they can qualify. We also have a plus one. If they are going to be I remember uh, Michael Richard trying to make a joke that that he wants to go and watch Nice versus Brest play.
Hmm.
So so I don't know, but we're gonna be having Nice in the Champions League now. If you don't understand, forget about it. So for me, so I'm happy that we are having Knicks now, OGC Knicks now playing the Champions League. So I'm happy that Terem Moffi too, and Victor Osimhen is part of them. So good that he's back. Another what's it called? Eric Shea went to visit him when he was still injured. So I think he's part of Eric Shea's plan. But will it be in this cup? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think he can play in the Unity Cup because he has not really been playing like that now. So
Hmm?
it's not, he can get 45 minutes per game under his belt will not be bad
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
Because it's different for all the other players that you'll say, it's been a long season, blah blah blah. But for him, this season I think he played what 5 matches,
Mm-hmm.
this season because he was
Right.
injured for a long time. So there's no reason why he can't play, and his season is already over, so he can, you know, go to camp, just take a short trip to London, and go and be a part of it. I mean, he's one of those players that he needs to, there's a lot of competition in the Super Eagles, especially in that forward position.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I like him, you have somebody like Arokodare scoring a bunch of goals in Belgium. You have
Mm-hmm.
Osimhen. You still have Boniface who is in the mix. You have Dessers who a lot of people are talking about and are clamoring for. You need to go and prove yourself. You need to go and fight for your shirt. You need to show that you deserve to be in the team. And
Yeah,
you need to, because I mean, we know how good he was before, but is he still the same Murphy before the injury? The only way
mm-hmm.
for us to know is for him to show us,
Yeah.
and that's the way he needs to prove himself. I would like him to be part of the team, even if he plays 45, 60 minutes, one game, just to show us that you are still as explosive as you used to be. You are
Mm-hmm.
still clinical. You still have that eye for goal. I like Terem Moffi a lot, man. As a player, I think he's skilled, he's
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
can finish very well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. As soon as was I posted on my page, somebody said, if he catch PSG next season, because we know he likes to score against against PSG. You know, I'm just happy. Honestly, I was just happy to see him back on the score sheet because injuries are something that every footballer tells you is like the worst thing that can happen when they get injured. And then
Mm-hmm.
ACL injury, we know is like the worst injury that the player can have. This is like a potentially career-ending injury. If many players don't recover to the fullest extent, so
Mm-hmm.
I want Terem Moffi to be able to show us that he's still him. He can still do what we believe he can do. I hope no more injuries in his career because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to become an injury prone player. I think the season before, I believe he was maybe injured a little bit, but a short term injury. Then he got this long injury. So if he can just stay fit for a whole season, show himself, because again in your club, as much as you're a good player, the reality of it is that when you get injured for a whole season like this, your
Mm-hmm.
club brings other people in. Those people show them what they can offer. Then all of a sudden your relevance starts to reduce here and there. But if you're able to come back and show that you're still at the same level, then you earn your shirt back, you become a regular again, you keep playing, and then hopefully you can get to where you were before. This is
Mm-hmm.
a guy that at some point we thought he could potentially be on his way out of Nice because of how good he was.
It
But
was that.
obviously, injuries have stifled him a little bit, that slowed him down. But I still believe, man. I like Terem Moffi a lot. I keep saying it. I think he's a fantastic finisher. People have been fighting whenever I say this. I think he's a better finisher than Victor Osimhen. Um, Osimhen obviously has improved a lot on his finishing, but just that natural finishing ability before, if Murphy catch you one on one, the way he'll finish, man. Obviously now he needs to come back and show us. He needs to come back and show it. He needs to come back
Yeah.
and prove
But
himself.
he didn't finish against Africa now in the World Cup qualifier. He got 1-on-1 now.
Everybody in this world has the best finisher in this world has missed chance too. Even Messi has missed chance. So anybody can miss at any point. But still, it's the kind of guy that gone to your head if you trust him more often than not
Bro,
because of the ability
me, I
he
will
has.
put my money on Victor Osimhen. This Victor Osimhen this season.
But this Victor Osimhen this season still missed plenty chances too.
But towards second half of the season.
I agree, but even if some of I say let's not be like I'm raining on Osimhen's parade, but
Mm-hmm.
some of the goals you question the goalkeeping a little bit because those Turkish goalkeepers they get as they do.
Uh,
The ball on your near post and you cannot cover it. But still, let's not get into that. But shout out to Terem Moffi. Wishing him all the best. Hopefully, he has a good summer. I would like to see him part of the Unity Cup squad. Has a good summer. Come back rejuvenated next season, and then
Mhm.
can continue playing like this. And maybe he can part of the team in September.
Yeah.
We have to see how that one goes. But congrats to him. Congrats to him. Okay, let's also talk about um let's talk about Cyriel Dessers. Cyriel Kolawole Dessers finished the season as the top goal scorer in the Scottish Prem. He made a post on his Instagram saying it would all work out. Just the song that he used, no matter how all the complaints, all the highs, all the lows, all the criticism, at the end of the day, he's the top goal scorer in the league. Fantastic player, fantastic goal scorer. Another one that yes tends to miss one or two chances. But how would you rate Cyriel Dessers' season for Rangers this year? Sorry. Before you answer, let me just quickly say this. People need to understand something. Saying somebody is a better finisher than somebody does not mean that the person is a better striker. So when you tell me, oh, he can't score that many goals at Turkey, I'm not arguing that point with you. I never said he can score more, he will score more. I said finishing. And this thing with a lot of people, like finishing is a unique skill, is one skill. It is not the whole play that goes into being a striker. If we look at Osimhen's goals this season, how many goals did Osimhen score with his head? Murphy cannot do that. He cannot compete with Osimhen if it comes to aerial ability. So goal scoring is, a lot of things that encompass. I'm just talking about finishing with his leg in front of goal. So that's a very unique thing I'm talking about. But Smilai, Cyriel Dessers ability, his season this year for Rangers, finishing as the top goal scorer. How would you rate the performance?
For me, I'm really, happy despite the ups and downs, during the season. I remember that they brought the Moroccan striker. I remember that put him on the
Uh,
bench.
what's his
And
name? Igamande or something like that. I've forgotten the
yeah,
guy's.
during the coach was fired. This new coach actually trusted the Dessers, to do the job, and he did it. I think this coach actually worked well with him, and he delivered. See, um, I don't need to say that Dessers again. He needs to be called up. He needs to be called up. Fantastic season. Not even in the Scottish League alone. He did it also in the Europa League. I remember I scored a goal against my backyard here, against Man United.
Mm.
Although Man United, everybody can score against them. We are a team of 38 points this season, fighting relegation. So it's like scoring against both. Man United is nothing. So let me just put that one on one side. For me, good season for him. This is probably arguably his best season in his career. And people are talking about, oh, he's too old. He's too old. He's younger than most of the strikers. So don't let us go into that debate. And so I just want to
Wait,
say,
no. What do you mean? What do you mean he's younger than most of our strikers?
no, I see. Let us go into that debate.
No, I want
Because
to I want to understand you because Destas
allegedly,
is
okay,
Destas is 30
allegedly,
years,
yes,
and you say he's younger than most of our strikers.
yes,
Osimhen is how old? Osimhen is what, 26. Boniface is what, 24, 25.
yes,
Tolu Arokodare is how old? 24, 25.
yes.
So how can you say Destas is younger than
No,
most of them?
allegedly, let me just put allegedly. But for me, I just think that the guy can still have like 6 years in him, playing for Nigeria.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna come and sit down here and tell you that this guy should start games for Nigeria. You know, when you need goals, you can come in, and make impact, or get a tired defense. He's very experienced. He played against big teams before, so he knows exactly what the goal is. I'm surprised that they has never played any game in Nigeria before. All the games that they have played for Nigeria was it not away from home?
I
He
think so,
never
yeah.
played. Yeah, I don't think he never played at home before, at home for Nigeria before.
Hmm.
So everything has been not away from home, away from home. We don't even know how it will feel to play in front of Ujo crowd.
Hmm.
So I just think that uh you know I'm happy for him. He's doing well. And IoT, watch out. A newly promoted side can gamble on him, can make that
In
gamble
a new promoted side in which country?
in England or Wrexham. I've seen. I mean, anyway, Wrexham is signing everybody now. I'm hearing that Wrexham want to soon sign Joe Bellingham. So Wrexham is signing everybody. So maybe if you play for Wrexham and he scores goals, it's also not bad. So for me, I am happy with the season, and you agree with me that nobody here will say that he didn't perform well. This is top notch.
No, he has definitely had a good season. I like how he has done in the league. Started 24 goals, scored 18 goals. A goal every 118 minutes. Zero point 0.5 goals per game, so that's a goal every 2 games. Missed 21 big chances. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people just hold on to. Oh, he misses chances. But he also scores, and he scores important goals. And people need to give him credit for that. This is one of those strikers that the one that you're like looking at him that okay, he should score this, he might miss it. And then the one that you're not expecting is when all of a sudden he'll just take the ball, turn beautifully, and smash it in. 8 goals with his left foot, 8 goals with his right foot. So equally balanced in that regard, and scored 2 goals with his head. Fine, fine, fine player. I think he definitely deserves a chance to show himself for Nigeria. A lot of people have criticized him in the past, but now that the other strikers are not really performing, people have started coming on his side again and saying, okay, but this guy is scoring plenty goals now. Why is he not getting a chance? Why is he not getting a chance? So I believe that he's going to get his chance soon. Like you said, he hasn't even felt what it's like to play in front of the home crowd. So maybe when he plays in front of the home crowd and he feels the love from Nigeria, he might even be more motivated. He might be more gingered, to really deliver for us. I like him as a player, humble guy, good head on his shoulders. I've spoken to different Nigerian footballers who even felt like, why wasn't he in the Super Eagles squad for the last set of matches? A lot of people felt like that. So fine player. I can't say anything negative about him. Maybe he can be more clinical sometimes, but it's one of those things. We're not saying he's the best striker in the world, but for his level, for what he's been doing, he has shown us that he can score goals for a number of seasons. Last this year he has 21 goals, no competitions. The season before he had 18. 22-23 was a bit of a down year for him when he had 10, but the season before that he had 20. So for a period of years, like giving us that amount of goals year after year after year, is he's been fairly consistent, and I think people need to give him his credit for that. Um, let's see how he can perform with the Super Eagles. I think we've spoken about it before that he's one of those players that unfortunately does not make an effort to really connect to Nigeria or connect to the Nigerian people. So maybe that's why, as much as maybe people like you and I and some fans might really shout for him, the general Nigerian media wouldn't really talk about him that much. People on the ground will not really talk about him because he doesn't really make an effort. If you do not know he's Nigerian, you will not know he's Nigerian. There's nothing that you won't go on in social media and say, this is a Nigerian boy, based on anything that he's sharing or posting. He doesn't really try to build that connection, which I hope he would try to do a bit more of. But at the end of the day, Naim gets in life is him that knows what he's chasing, knows what he's doing. I would like to see him play in a competitive match though. See how much energy, how much focus, how much determination he can show to us. But if he plays against Ghana, he will score. Now and I know. If he plays against Ghana, he will score. He will score. I'm excited for him. As far as whether or not a team in the Premier League will sign him, I don't necessarily think so. Especially given his age. Usually the Premier League, if the teams are signing like a veteran striker like that, it's usually a veteran striker that has played in the league before and has scored goals in the league, and they know that okay, he can give us 10 goals, in the Premier League. But this has never played at that level. So that's the reason why I don't necessarily believe that the Premier League team would sign him. It doesn't mean that he's not good. If he gets an opportunity, great. I don't just see teams chasing him like that, just because he has never played at that level. The highest level he has played for is maybe I don't know. The Eredivisie is probably higher than the Scottish Prem. That's the highest level. So for me, it's going to be hard to say, somebody will come and sign him. But regardless, if Rangers keep him, he will deliver again for them. So someone said, "How old is this?" He's 30 years old. That's why I call him a veteran. He's on in football, 30 years old. Yeah, Nagbalagba. You're no longer a young man. So That's something that's very, and a lot of people don't have context. I'm not supposed to be taking your comments because you're not dropping it with super chat, but you're asking, did Aribo have Premier League experience before Southampton signed him? Again, you have to remember, how old was Aribo when Southampton signed him? They signed him in 2022, 3 years ago. How old was he at the time? Very different from signing a 30-year-old. Very, very different potential. Desas is not going to improve past this. This is him. This is his level. Aribo was a player that they signed that could get better. So context matters a lot in football. But yeah, shout out to Cyriel Dessers, man. Wishing him all the best. Fine season. Hopefully, he's getting some rest so that he can go to London, enjoy the 2 games with Nigeria, and let's see what happens in the summer for him. If he stays at Rangers, let him just have another fine season. But I feel like you know, Rangers will be probably looking at not relying on him too much next season. Not because he's bad, but you know, just because some people feel like he's a bit too inconsistent. Because sometimes I watch Rangers games, and after the games, the kind of comments that some people leave, man. But then when he scores, they're happy. When he doesn't, oh, they're insulting him. This one's so down, down. It's life of a football player. To be fair, when you're doing well, everybody loves you. When you're not doing too well, everybody's looking at you like, who is this guy? How did he get here? So it's a very tricky one. It's a very tricky one. But yeah, wishing him all the best. Let's see how that goes. Okay. If you're joining us on other social media platforms, please switch over to YouTube now. The stream is ending. The stream is ending. If you know Forbes Graham, switch over to YouTube now. The stream is going to end on your platform in 30 seconds. Okay, because I said marketing guru is not sending super chat, he sends super chats. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, I still believe he deserves a chance at least. Let's see him play. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been saying since. He deserves a chance. Nobody is saying he doesn't. He deserves a chance. He deserves a chance. Okay, that's that. Okay, let us talk about another player. It's me like whenever I bring up this player, you always have a reaction. Our very own midfielder, Wilfred Ndidi. Ndidi got an assist this weekend, and he has now matched his highest ever assist total for a season with 5 assists. He has surpassed his best total in the English Premier League. His best total in Premier League was 4, but last season in the Championship he had 5 assists. This season he has matched with 5 assists. Leicester have one more game, so if he can get an assist in that game, he can break his best total ever. But looking at the entire season that Ndidi has had, how would you rate it? Would you say he has done well? Would you say he hasn't? I would just preface by saying this. If you look on these football tracking apps, Indeed has the highest average rating of any player in Leicester City this season. But Smilai, I'll ask you, how do you rate Indeed this season back in the Premier League, playing for Leicester City, getting relegated, but matching his highest assist total ever? What do you think?
It's very hard to judge Wilfred now. He said he had the highest rating among Leicester players. Is he playing with James Madison? Is he playing with Ian Stillemans? You know, is he playing with all those big players I used to play before?
He's playing with Ayu now, Fatah Ishaku, you
Which
know,
if I
the Ghanaian brother now.
can, so he's not even playing with senior man Kells. So for me, good season at his own standard. Very good for him. And I don't know, maybe you guys want to put words to my mouth. That is just the standard for now. That's the standard for now. When he went to the championship, I think he did slightly, but people didn't know because he was having assist. He was going forward. People think that hey, he's now attacking. No, there's some aspect in his game that I did not see again.
Hmm. Like which aspect?
For me, he still tried to before they got relegated, he was still trying to. I know that it was Tillemans that might dictate the pace of the game, but he was still trying to do those beats. But now it's just so. it's not, you will not see that. Maybe probably it's the energy level now start to go down. Sometimes now when you get to a level, the energy level start dropping. So maybe that's the reason why. But for me, I just know that is his level now. Maybe he's gonna stay in Leicester. I don't know. But you know, he had a better season than Aribo and Noashu. I will say that way.
Excellent. Mm.
Those are relegated because I have the category of relegation. You cannot say he had the best season than Iwobi. Never. You cannot say he had the best season than Kabibasi. Never. So he has a better season than Onuachu and Aribo. That is the level.
Mm.
That is the level. IoT, that's the level. And it's not take anything away from him more. Fantastic player. In his days, fantastic player. But he done the drop small, small. And
Mm.
people just take us as an offense. So he done the drop small, small. Fantastic player, good season by his own standard. But he done the drop.
I mean, I like Ndidi. But I mean, I think obviously this season playing for Leicester City have been a terrible side this year. So obviously having a decent year is enough for him to stand out in that terrible poor Leicester City side. The interesting thing is that last year that
Oh,
he was playing in the
I
championship,
just say something. Sorry, because somebody wants to trigger me. Say, Everton and Taiwo. Do you see? Some of with due respect, some of you, it's just see
no worries,
some.
like, no, let me just finish what I'm saying. This year, it's interesting because when you look at his defensive statistics this year, he did way more defensively than he did last season playing in the championship. Last season playing in the championship under Enzo Maresca, he had more of an attacking side to his game. I think he scored 6 goals. He got assists. So people were saying, okay, he has brought a new side to his game. He's now offering more. This year playing in Leicester City where they're on the back foot, obviously he had to go back to his defensive stance. This year in total he had 85 tackles, 32 interceptions in the English Premier League. Compared to last year in Championship, he had only 44 tackles and also 32 interceptions. The year before, 22-23, when they were in the Premier League, he had 70 tackles and 42 interceptions. So over the past 3 seasons, this has actually been his best statistical season in terms of his defensive contribution. But if you compare it to the seasons that he was having before, like in 2017-18 when he had 156 tackles and 55 interceptions, in 18-19 when he had 149 tackles and 86 interceptions, it pales in comparison. So has in these numbers, has his level dropped? Yes, it has. But is he still a decent player? I think he is. Age, injuries, and a bunch of other factors have not helped him. I don't think he's going to stay at Leicester City. I don't want him to stay at Leicester City. I want him to find a move, even if it is to go to the German Bundesliga, like Frank Onyeka did. Find one of those mid-table Bundesliga teams. No, there's no reason why you can't do it there. Find one of those mid-table Bundesliga teams there and try to do a job in their midfield. Or I don't know, go somewhere that he can revive himself a little bit and show himself. I don't tell me Indeed should go to Turkey. Indeed can still play in the top 5 leagues. I strongly believe so.
He's
I
going
don't
to
want.
act youth.
No, I mean, if he decides to go to Saudi, that's on him. He's 28 years old. He says he wants to chase the money.
Eh?
That's on him.
What?
He's 28 years old now.
Okay.
If he decides to chase the money, I wouldn't like it as a player, as a fan, but it's up to him what he wants to do. But for me, I think Ndidi can find a mid-table team in Germany, can find a mid-table team in Italy, can find a mid-table team in France, and he can do a good job, a decent job for them, and gets people talking about him in a positive light again.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. There was time that I don't know, maybe it was you. I don't know. You're not a transfer guru or expert. Some experts in Nigeria linked him to Man to no, not to no to Man United and also to Barcelona. So what do you think is wrong?
No,
Do you
but that
think
was back in the day. That was just because of the amount of,
when he was coming from Leicester this promotion season, they link him to Barcelona?
see, what I would say is, me like, I've always held the same opinion about Ndidi when it comes to playing for these top teams. People
Hmm.
criticized me in the past when he was doing very well, and I said it that I don't think these top teams will sign him because he doesn't have the ability on the ball. If you are
Hmm.
playing for a Barcelona, you need to be able to use the ball because
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona is going to go into every game having about 70% of possession. They
Yes,
don't
yeah.
need you to be tackling as much. Is as
Uh-huh.
needed, you tackle, but you're not running around just covering space, tackling, making interceptions. You have the ball most of the time. When you have
Uh-huh.
the ball, what can you do with it? I've said this in the past. That's the reason why a big team, even when it was doing well, I said it, people did not understand me. When I said that's the reason why Man U will not sign him. That's the reason why Real Madrid did not sign him. Barcelona will not sign him. Does it mean that he cannot still do a job for a team? No. A team that likes to play on the back foot is a bit more suitable for Wilfred Ndidi than a team that likes to control the game. Because when his
Okay.
team controls the game, his ability on the ball does not match up to what some other players can provide. Because even look at a player like Dewsbury Hall. At Chelsea, Dewsbury Hall is struggling for minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's playing at Leicester, Dewsbury Hall is more of a key player than Wilfred Ndidi because going forward, he can provide something. It's not just about winning the ball. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that comes into it. I don't think he can play for a big team, but I think he can play for a mid-table team, a team that maybe usually has 45% possession, and he can do that dirty job in midfield. And knock on wood, if he's
Con-
able to stay
okay.
fit,
You think he can play for a mid-table team in England?
yes.
Which
I just don't think that any mid-table team in England is going to sign him.
mm-hmm.
I don't think that
Oh,
any mid-table team in England is going to sign him. But
out
there's
of
no
curiosity,
reason why he cannot play for West Ham. There's no reason why he cannot play for Man.
you think that he can bench Paqueta?
Paqueta is a different kind of player now. Is attacking.
Who is probably at the back of him there? In
In
that, no, no,
in in
Is this
Leicester, in Leicester,
no?
for example, I be in West Ham. Sorry, not Leicester.
The guy is
They played this guy. They play this Guido Rodriguez
uh-huh.
in their midfield. He can do a job there. Can bench Rodriguez. You know, in let's say, let me look at if we're looking at a team like let me see. See, let me not do this brainstorming right now. But I think he can do a job. He can do a
Can
job
he
in one
bench?
of these.
No, let's look at what about the Egyptian team too? Tottenham and Man City, and Man United
Man
because
U.
they are also battling relegation last season. So when you say mid-table team, Man U is not a mid-table team.
Man
Oh.
U is the bottom of the table.
Relegation threatening team. Man U is a relegation threatening team.
Oh,
So
God.
let's look at those that escape relegation. Man U can on the bench Gate.
Ugarte is not. I don't rate Ugarte.
Can on the bench
Personally,
Casemiro?
I don't rate Ugarte.
Can he bench
He can't
Casemiro?
bench Casemiro is an OG now. He has done it. But even Man U, they're tired of Casemiro because he does not have the legs anymore. But he's an OG. How many time Champions League winner, everything that he has done in his
And
career.
on the bench Busuma.
But in
Tottenham.
Everton, for example, he can bench James Garner. Even though I know his direct
Yeah.
competition in Everton is Idris Gueye, but he
Uh-huh.
can bench James Garner that plays beside Idris Gueye in Everton. You
But
know,
okay, what James Gather actually would offer? That you know that the Shaggy is limited going forward. Do you want to bring people that are limited going forward?
no, I know. That's just what I'm saying. Somebody said, can you bench Watson in Crystal Palace? Watson is
Okay.
21 years old. So what Watson is doing now is what Ndidi was doing many, many years ago. And even
Mm-hmm.
till today, Watson no reach waiting they do this season. Because the Watson that we're talking about, if we look at his numbers statistically in terms of tackles, interceptions, blocks, all those things, Ndidi had a
Mm-hmm.
better statistical season than him this year. It's just I
Mm-hmm.
explained for Crystal Palace that is a more balanced team. He's doing well. So and he's 21 years old. So what's in the future? But Indeed, he
Yeah.
still had a better season statistically than him.
Uh, Before we move on from, let me ask you this question: who is a better ball user between Frank Onyeka, Wilfred Ndidi, and Onyedika? Who can use the ball more?
Hmm. Franco Onyeka, Wilfred Ndidi, and
And Onyedika.
I'll have to say Oyedika. I'll have to say Onyedika because Onyeka cannot use the ball. Onyeka is a tank. He can cover spaces. He can tackle. He can run around. Onyeka cannot use the ball. Ndidi,
Mm-hmm.
Ndidi can use the ball small.
Mm-hmm.
Onyedika is the one at least. Onyedika is the kind of player that he's not going to try too much. He's not going to try to do too much. He will
Mm-hmm.
just do what he needs to do, and he will
Mm-hmm.
give the ball to the players that can do better.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say Onyedika, then Ndidi, then Onyeka.
Yeah.
Somebody said Bisuma. We're not talking about Bisuma here now.
No,
We're
but
not
talking about
talking
the United team, like
about
Tottenham and Man
United.
United.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, let's see what happens with him this summer. If he stays at Leicester, I won't be happy because I don't think he needs to play another season in Championship. But if he goes to a different team,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens. I just think he can still do well in the top five league for a
Mm-hmm.
mid-table side. Take him to, I don't know, the
Maybe you
middle of
guys
the Bundesliga.
your friend Urban in the Alpha.
What happened
I
to
mean,
him?
I see not right. Maybe kept your
you know,
He-
I mean,
yes.
maybe he can go to okay. Hoffenheim avoided relegation, so
Mhm.
maybe he can go to Hoffenheim and go and help them there, or St. Pauli, or Union Berlin.
See, if he goes to those clubs, and he's not playing regularly,
He will play. He will play. If he goes to
no.
Hoffenheim, he will play. Forget about it. If he goes to Hoffenheim, he will play.
See,
Who do they have in Hoffenheim?
Offenham is just like all these man you are like, so I think he will play there, honestly.
He will play if he goes to Hoffenheim. Let's maybe not get anybody. Let's not talk bad about our player too much. We know that Ndidi is not the same Ndidi of 5 years ago, but Ndidi still get level small, and his reputation precedes him. His reputation
Yeah.
precedes him. If he goes to certain places, there are people that will take a chance on him just because of what he has done in the past.
You know
You
they
know,
can play at Atletico Madrid.
he's not going to give you. Gallagher has legs.
Yeah, that guy's legs. But I think that see, if you are playing for 90 minutes, you're just doing yourself.
Mm.
I think if you can play for that very good 60 minutes, go give you 60 minutes, solid 60 minutes. Even Nigeria said we should learn that lesson. It will give you solid 60 minutes.
And then take him off. But by the time you ask him to play the whole game, if he cannot run and cover the spaces anymore, then people will now start to knock him and say one thing or the other.
Yeah.
But no, but I mean, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Is he out of contract yet, or he still has another year in Leicester?
I don't know. I think it's got like maybe a couple of years or so. Maybe probably
I know
see.
his agent. I'm sure his agent will be looking for something. They've now entered partnership with the agency that has Rudiger, Gyökeres, and all
Mhm.
those other people, Lindelof, and some other people that are in their agency. So at least he has decent representation.
That was
It
very
should-
useful 4 years
it's-
ago.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but he's in the same agency as even Franco Yeka as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully they are able to get something done. I believe that they
Mhm.
can. Let's see what happens. But shout out to Wilfred Ndidi, man. Another
Yeah.
season in the Premier League done and dusted. Don't worry. In the future when you are counting your believers, I believed in you, even though a lot of people are, are doubting you. Very good. Wilfred Ndidi. Okay.
Okay.
Let us talk about now. Let's just wrap up and talk about our star boy, Victor James Osimhen,
Mhm.
champion of Turkey, in his first and hopefully his last season playing for
Why
Ghana.
when you go and play for a banner, is it hopefully last season?
in
When
his
you go and play
in
for them?
his first, I repeat, in his first and
Mm.
hopefully his last season playing for Galatasaray, Victor Osimhen has won the Turkish double, scoring a goal as they beat Kayserispor 3-0 and clinched the league title. Two trophies in his debut season, in probably his only season for Galatasaray. How do you rate the season that Victor Osimhen has had so far?
Good. Good, fantastic season. A lot of people. I don't care what you say, what people say about being in Turkey is a backwater league. You beat people in front of you. It's not better to play in Qatar than to go and play in the Napoli B and be scoring because it was going towards playing that it was going towards that direction.
Mm.
So for me, this one is probably his best season, even as a pro now. For taking away the
Statistically, yeah.
that is the best. It's the best since as a pro. So for me, really impressed with him. I don't care what people say about playing the lower league. For me, he did well. And don't forget that Victor Osimhen even improved as a player. We discussed about this thing before. And the second finish against Rwanda was a big improvement. Osimhen before we placed that ball, and he tried this so many times. It was called in Galatasaray. He also starts scoring penalties now. It's decent penalties now. So he improved. He's more relaxed as a player. So for me, I think he's now fired and ready. fantastic season for him, and I think that they should be proud of this season. You said that 1-1 and probably the only season. I think I should agree with you. You know that
He
it
can
shows.
come back when he's like 35, 36. He can come back.
Yeah. Well, and people have been saying that they're complaining now that are you bringing Hurricane? Why are you allowing him to go? Are you go and bring Hurricane? Hurricane that must replace Victor Osimhen. I was like, Hurricane, you want Hurricane to replace Victor Osimhen? You know, in in the Galatasaray, that's what they are demanding. If you would allow him to go, so for me, they love him so much. And if you ask Victor Osimhen, maybe you're gonna sit down and talk to him. You know, maybe he's gonna give you that audience to talk to him now. I think this is probably where he's very happy most, not even in Italy. He's very happy in Turkey. So maybe one day he will just come back, like you said, maybe at 35 or 36, just come and play like Tony Wakeme, you know. I saw him play against for Transfer, you know, in the final game, you know, and they won, like they lost 3-0. So maybe he's going to come back and just do one season and, you know, and leave them, you know. For me, I think Victor Osimhen really, really did. I really, really season. And secondly, to what you're giving your submission to, please flashback to maybe do you have the clip of the video you recorded at the start of the season about Victor Osimhen that how many goals do you expect him to score? Do you still have
Yeah.
that video? You have to
Yeah.
match it now. And yeah, because for me, I'm really impressed.
No. I mean, by all standards, a fantastic season for Victor Osimhen and Galatasaray. Interestingly enough, they still have two more games to go this season. So the season is not even done yet. You know, I started at the start of the season that I'm expecting to score 30 goals. A lot of people that are in this chat now, they were telling me, oh, IoT like setting unrealistic expectations. Like, oh, you don't want to cement so that you can say it not do well. But it's just the level of belief and expectation that I had for a player of the Osimhen standard. If we are going to compare Osimhen to the best in the world, if you look on my comments on social media, I always call him best in the world, best in the world. If I say that, then I have to give him his just due and I have to set his expectations at the level that the people that compete for those type of titles compete at. You know, look at what Kylian Mbappe is doing at Real Madrid. Real Madrid playing in the La Liga and the Champions League. Osimhen needs to be hitting those kind of heights, especially playing in Turkey. So I'm happy that he did. 36 goals and 7 assists in 39 games. That is a fantastic return. Even though we don't want to see him playing in Turkey, that's the reality because it's not the highest level of competition. But like you said, Smith, like you can only beat who is in front of you. And Osimhen duly and properly beats the teams that were in front of him. Goal after goal after goal after goal, game after game after game after game. Osimhen continued to show that this was not his level. He continued to show that he was above the rest. He continued to show that he was the best by far in the league. Led Galatasaray to the Turkish Cup the other day. Led Galatasaray to the Turkish Super League. A fantastic player. I know that Galatasaray fans are begging for him to stay. I know that they want him to continue to be with them. I know that they are doing everything that they can to convince him to stay. But Victor Osimhen is a player with high ambitions. Victor Osimhen is a player that we feel can be winning the best player in the world award. So they need to understand that it's nothing personal. Galatasaray will forever live in his heart. You know, they even went as far as asking his daughter to do stadium announcer. Just everything that can just touch his heart to just make him happy. But I know there was a Galatasaray fan that's watching this video. Just understand that all Nigerians we love Galatasaray. But we know that Victor Osimhen has a lot that he can still achieve and do in his career. And we need him to go to one of the bigger teams in the world, to play in the UEFA Champions League for a big team, to have a chance of winning it, so that he can achieve all those things that he's supposed to achieve in his career. Osimhen is the best Nigerian player that we have seen in a long time, in a very, very, very long time. Osimhen is someone that has the ability to be one of, if not the best Nigerian player of all time. And we need him to go to a league where people are going to recognize his achievements, recognize his greatness, as well as he has done this season. I still see on social media there are still people that say, "Is he playing because he's playing in Turkey, or he's playing in the Super League, or is this, is that, is that?" A lot of people still don't believe that he deserves what he deserves. A lot of people still don't feel like he's at the level that we know that he is at. And the only way to solve this is for him to be playing at the highest level for one of the biggest teams in the world. And I hope that Galatasaray fans can understand. I know that regardless whether he leaves or not, they are not going to disrespect him. They are going to love him. I mean, it was a loan in the first place. So, you know, that's why they always tell you Never fall in love with a lone player because you fall in love with a lone player, it can happen like this. But I am really, really happy for Victor Osimhen. I said if he can get us to 40 goals before the season end, 2 games left, it needs 4 more goals to get to 40. There is nothing that cannot still happen. There's nothing that cannot still happen. Fantastic return, man. Osimhen is 26 right now. This is the time where he's supposed to be getting to his peak. And I don't want Osimhen's peak to be at Galatasaray. With all due respect to Galatasaray, I want his peak to be in one of the biggest leagues in the world, playing for a Chelsea, playing for uh, an Arsenal. If Man U win the Europa League, I can allow him to join Man U. If they win the Europa League, at least he will play Champions League football. Even though I don't believe in that, they are nonsense coach. But I want to see Osimhen in one of the big leagues in the world. Maybe a Barcelona if Barcelona decide to sign him. But we need to see. Imagine Osimhen playing behind Lamine Yamal. Oh my god! It's like I just know that Osimhen can achieve so much in his career still. This boy is so good, has so much potential. Like you were saying the other day, when you're looking at the goal coefficient, because he's playing in Galatasaray, the coefficient does not stack up and they'll still put certain people ahead of him. So these are the things that we cannot be affording to happen. He has shown that he's too good for that. Like, he has shown that he's too good for the Turkish league. He's too good. No, a player should not be scoring the amount of. The only player that has done something like this before was Haaland in his first season in Premier League, where it was just scoring. It was making the league look like a joke. That's the way Osimhen has made the Turkish league look like a joke. Now I need Osimhen to go and make the Premier League look like a joke. Osimhen should go to the Premier League and give us these kind of numbers. 38 games in the league, Osimhen should give us 35 goals in England. Let's know that Osimhen is him. Give us 35 goals in England, can score like 6 or 7 or 8 in Champions League. Something so that we can really talk about it. We want Osimhen in Ballon d'Or contention again. We want Osimhen, amongst the Kylian Mbappes, the Lamine Yamals, the Rafinhas, the Salahs. Those are the numbers that we want Osimhen. Those are the names I want Osimhen to be in conversation with. I remember that his year in Napoli. I used to go into arguments, beating my chest. I would tell people, Osimhen is better than Vinicius Junior. Who won't follow me argue? Look at the numbers. Look at his play. Look at him carrying his team to a league title. Even though Vinicius won Champions League, but that's another conversation entirely. But these are the ways that we were so confident in bigging Victor Osimhen up. And it was because of the level that he was playing at combined with the achievements that he was getting. And we just need him to go to another high level to get his achievements so that we can talk about him like this again. Any club should be on their knees praying for their club to sign Victor Osimhen. Pay him what he wants. Because whoever decides to finally pay him what he wants, they are going to be the club that is going to contend. I believe so. As long as it's not Saudi, I don't want him to go and contend in Saudi. But if he's in England, just pay him the best deal possible. And Osimhen should go and prove himself even more, and achieve so much more. I want to believe that Osimhen does not feel satisfied. I want to believe so. It's something that we say about a lot of Nigerian players that they get to a certain level, then they feel like they've arrived. And then they don't want to compete anymore. They're happy, they're making money, they can take care of their families, they're happy. Osimhen gives me the feeling that he knows that he can still do so much more and he wants to achieve so much more. And I like that about him. And I want him to go and achieve so much more. I've been supporting Victor Osimhen since he was 15 years old. So for me, to see a Nigerian player come from nothing and get to the level that he is at now, where he's adored in Italy, he's, well, adored half and half in Italy, adored in Turkey. He should go somewhere else and be adored. And then when he's 35 years old, he can go back to Galatasaray and give them one last hurrah. And I'm sure that they will still love him. You see the videos of the people in Turkey, in Istanbul, in Galatasaray, you can just tell how much they love him. I have a cousin that lives in Istanbul, and he was telling me, he said, almost since Osimhen joined that team, that it has been so sweet to be a Nigerian in Istanbul. Because everywhere you go, once they find out that you're Nigerian, Osimhen, if you even just mistakenly tell them that Osimhen, Osimhen is your brother, they just love you, everything. You see the way the little kids just look at him and smile. It's not like It's not easy to be. That's one thing that we should never take for granted. To be loved like that. And Osimhen, I hope he doesn't take it for granted because he has a kind of grace around him that allows him to be so loved by so many people, even Nigerians, to the point where even when he does wrong, a lot of people still support him just because of how much they love him. I hope he doesn't take that for granted. And I hope he continues to work hard. He doesn't feel like he has arrived. Continues to work hard because the best continue to work hard like this. Cristiano Ronaldo till today is still working as hard as ever, even though he has done everything and he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. So I hope if Victor Osimhen continues to work super, super hard because there is still so much more that he can achieve. Who said the Nigerian cannot win the Ballon d'Or? Who said the Nigerian cannot be the best player in the world? Victor Osimhen is the one that has the best potential to do it for us. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens. Shout out to Victor Osimhen, man. Two more games this season. Let's see how many goals you'll finish the season with. But two trophies in the bag. He came, he saw, he conquered. On to the next. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Shout out to Victor Osimhen. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and just quickly share some positive news that we heard over the weekend. Before the game that Nottingham Forest had this weekend, they came out with their lovely t-shirts, just showing their love for our brother, our friend, our own Super Eagles player, Taiwo Awoniyi. Of course, Awoniyi suffered a scary injury, had to be, under a medically induced coma. He has obviously been out of the coma now. I know that Taiwo Awoniyi has reached out to people and has said thank you to people, and he has said that he's fine, he's with his family, he said he's doing much, much better now. He also released a statement talking about how this season was a difficult season for him, but he's still here, he's still fighting, he's still smiling, he's in good spirits. If you know Taiwo is one of the most positive people that you would meet. Even in the bad times, he's still always laughing. I remember when Taiwo did not get called up for the last Super Eagles squad or something. I was talking to him and I was making a joke about something. And I would say, me we know me way before my ego. Now me, and they were just joking, say, me way before my ego. And I just laughed and I just said, come on, stop it. But he's that kind of guy that even in the down moments, even when he's not happy about certain things, he still finds a way to smile about the situation. If you haven't seen my interview that I did with Taiwo, I think it was 2 seasons ago that I interviewed Taiwo. You can check it out on our YouTube channel just to understand more about the way this guy thinks. Oh, I think this interview was after we missed out on the 2022 World Cup. After that season, we had an interview, fantastic conversation. He spoke about his mentality, spoke about how he sees the opportunity that he has now, an opportunity for people in the future. Humble guy, and I'm happy that he's doing very, very well. Obviously, he's out for the rest of this season, but he has his fantastic family around him. This is a guy that he's a fighter. He's a fighter. Unfortunately, I'm in a spot where I'm rooting against Nottingham Forest, in terms of their qualification for Champions League, because it's between them and my club. So I have to root against them, but I'm sure Europa League will be okay for them. You know, they can play in the Europa League next season. Hopefully Taiwo is there, able to contribute with his goals. By the grace of God, he can get more games in the English Premier as well. But even if he leaves, I just think he needs to find the best spot for himself. He's a player that continues to believe in himself. He's a quality player. Football sometimes is just about opportunity. Taiwo 2 years ago was saving Nottingham Forest. All the fans were chanting his name. This year, he has had it very tough. Opportunities have been few and far in between, to the point where people have started to make jokes about him. People have started to talk down on him. People have started to doubt him. But I know that the mentality that he has, this is a guy that will strongly believe that he can bounce back and believe that he can get back to the levels that he was at, before he got signed for Nottingham Forest. And even in his first season in Nottingham Forest, when he was scoring against Chelsea, scoring against Arsenal, and doing all these fine, fine things. But thank God he's recovering very well. And we look forward to seeing Taiwo next season. Smith Layi, your thoughts on Taiwo winning?
So I'm happy that he's back. He's back. Like we've said everything about. He's a very positive guy. He's a fighter, and when we were recording on Tuesday, and we heard the news that He's now in this coma. I won't lie to you. That day, I did not enjoy my sleep. I wasn't even sleeping, because I was just curious to know exactly what really actually what went wrong. So I'm happy that he's back. When I saw that news that he's out of induced coma and he's now recovering with his family, that's like a welcome relief. You can see that even Northern Forest, they even enjoyed their game against West Ham. The West Ham is a very, shaky team. They enjoy themselves, and I'm happy the support that Awoniyi got from everybody, around. To tell you, I was in a program, Bola God, we were praying. But that when I saw a lot of people, multitude of people praying for him, I was like, how many days? This is actually what very, very good. So shout out to Taiwo Awoniyi. I'm happy he's actually was back. Unfortunately, I'll be supporting the time forest against your own favorite Chelsea. Exactly how things actually. I'm an emergency no time forest fan. I thought that when where he goes. So when he was in Germany, I was supporting Berlin.
You know, Belling, yeah.
Berlin, Berlin. So when he was in Belgium too, I was supporting his Belgian team. So anywhere he goes, we support. But against Chelsea, in fact, I'll even fast for that game. If they have been, yeah, yeah. I'm happy that he's back.
No, fantastic, fantastic. Wishing you all the best. Wishing you all the very best. Maybe he'll be in the stadium to support them,
Yeah.
in their game against Chelsea. But we wait and see what happens there. Wishing him all the very, very best. Okay, so
Mhm.
there we have it. That's all the weekend's action. Lots of players that we talk about, lots that we didn't talk about. But I love to every single person. Okay, let us go into Nigeria for 1 second. Smilai, we recently crowned new champions of the NWFL. Bayelsa Queens won the trophy after the Super Six tournament. Um, what do you have to say about this triumph for Bayelsa Queens, and how do you see their season? And do you think that they can impress on the continent?
For me, I just think that they have been there before. If you remember, they played. Was it last 2 years or so? Just before the Dark Queens, they won the NWFL and they finished third in the
In
CAF
the CAF Champions League?
CAF Champions League. So that's actually what the best result of actually what we have achieved in the CAF Women Champions League. And last time around we finished fourth, again for Delta Edo Queens. So you cannot argue about their pedigree. They got the best results for Nigeria. So the goal be going here now to see if we can do one better, than what they actually what did, in Morocco. So that is that. Are they the best team? For me, I still think that National Zones, look like a decent side, under coach Danjuma than Bayelsa Queens. But, I just think that, what can we say than to congratulate Bayelsa Queens? For me, they have some decent players. I don't know if Chakrat Moshood, was part of their player. They have this young, fantastic bunch of players, very youthful players that can do things, just like the way Edo Queens did too. So I'm also, the governor of Bayelsa says is a sport loving governor. Maybe he can buy some outstanding players in the NPL and the ESL so that they can be able to, fortify the team more and compete very well because the CAF Champions League qualifiers is going to take place. What's it called? Uh, in Ivory Coast very soon. So I think they don't have enough time. So for me, world champions, I think so. But there are some teams that qualify for the Super Season that's not meant to be there. For me, Nigeria United just came there to play. Yeah, no, they did not to perform well at all. So for me, I think world champions.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. The only thing that I would say is not a knock on Bayelsa Queens, is a knock on the league itself. We need to treat women's football with respect to Nigeria. We need to not treat them like they are second fiddle, like they don't matter. The timing of games, in my opinion, was crazy. Having games at 9 a.m. on weekdays, I think is crazy. Having games back to back days. I don't know which professional league you've ever seen this. That you play match today, you play another match tomorrow. I think it's absolutely crazy. Sometimes you have only one day in between. I don't think it makes any sense for a team to play one, two, three, four, 5 matches in 7 days.
Hmm.
If you are really saying you want the best product, you want the best output, you want players to stay healthy, how do you ask a player to play 5 matches in 7 days? It makes no sense. So the league organizers need to do better. They will tell you things about, oh, well, the league is not making money. This one is not happening. That one is not happening. When you run the league like this, how is it supposed to make money? How are things supposed to go well? How are fans supposed to get involved? How are people supposed to get excited for it? So shout out to Bayelsa Queens. Vera Samuel scored a hat trick for them. They beat Nigerian Battles 4-1 to clinch the title. But I think that the league organizers need to do much better with scheduling, with accommodation, with all the resources and all the marketing that goes into the league. I feel like Nigeria, we don't spend enough money on marketing. We don't spend enough time on marketing. You need to garner interest. You need to get people to support both the clubs and the league. They need to do this thing well if we're supposed to run our league and make our league look good. And like you said, on the continent, we can trust Bayelsa Queens to put in a good shift. I don't know if you saw this FIFA. I don't know if it's FIFA organized, but there's a new women's football tournament where the champion of the different continents will face each other in like a mini tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also an interesting thing. If we're able to get Nigerian teams competing and potentially winning the Women's Champions League, so that we can compete at an international stage. Imagine a Nigerian team playing against Barcelona. Yeah, even if they go chop 7 or 8, but still, it's going to be a big deal for them. And chopping 7 or 8 against Barcelona is not even the Real Madrid. They chop 5, 6 against Barca. So but I just think it will be brilliant exposure for them. I'm sure it will be good money for them as well to be able to attend a tournament like that. But the only way they can qualify is to win the CAF Women's Champions League. So we need to we need to remove the stronghold from the South Africans. We cannot allow the South Africans to just be dominating these things, you
Yeah.
know. But shout out to Bayelsa Queens, impressive one. Mo, a member of the channel, is asking, is that IoT? Why is there none of our football bloggers that usually swarm Super Eagles camp are not even attending the sports festival in Abeokuta? Again, people go where they have interests. I will say I know Olewa is there in Abeokuta for this thing. He said OJB had to fly into Nigeria. OJB's one is a little bit different because OJB now does a lot of work with the Sports Commission,
Mm-hmm.
so is obligated to be there. Realistically, OJB might not have gone if he wasn't close to the Sports Commission like he is now. you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, people go where they feel like there is return for them. The National Sports Festival is not something that we it doesn't get the noise that we would hope that it gets. So I can't blame if somebody has to spend their own dime. I can't blame them too much, frankly. I can't blame them too much. It's all down to the marketing. I know that this year they are trying to put a lot of effort into making it into a big deal, and hopefully they're able to do it so that in the future editions there can be more interest from people in general, both locally and internationally. But it is what it is right now. It is what it is. Okay, somebody's asking Smith Layi a question, but the person did not send a super chat to the question. So we're just going to act like we did not see it, unfortunately. Um, Still sticking with women's football, we know that the Super Falcons have two friendlies coming up, one at the end of this month and one in the early days of June. Super Falcons will be in action, but here's the plot twist. I spoke to a couple Super Falcons players today, and some of them told me that they were not invited for the camp. And the reason is because apparently the team is going to be 50% foreign based and 50% home based. So, as of the latest information that I have from some players, I've been told that only about 12 foreign based Super Falcons have been invited for these two friendly matches against Cameroon. Captain is invited, Rashad Ajibade, Chiamaka Nadozie, and some of the other regulars in the team, but only about 12 of the foreign based. So don't expect to see some of the other stars that play their football abroad.
Did they invite Alozie?
No. As far as what I've heard, no, Alozie is not going to be there. Uh, but I was talking to one of the Super Falcons players, and she was complaining. She said, we have the WAFCON coming up in July.
Mhm,
We've not played 2 windows in a row. We did not play any match.
mhm,
Now that you're supposed to be getting the full team together so that we can properly prepare for the WAFCON,
mhm.
How is it that you are only going to call 12 foreign based? She said there is nothing wrong if you want to include some of the home based. There is nothing wrong if you want to integrate some of them into the team. But the core of the team, the reality of it is that the core of the team plays outside Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the core that you are going to take to the WAFCON, unless you don't want to win the WAFCON.
Mm-hmm.
So the players cannot understand why the NFF is making this decision. I don't know if it's a cost saving tactic. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what exactly it is.
Mm-hmm.
But looking forward now to the WAFCON in July, we are only going to be having half of the main set of players in this friendly or window that is coming up for these two games against Cameroon. And they are
Mm-hmm.
going to be in Ogun State for the two games. The players have also been saying that they are really interested in seeing which kind of hotel they put them in, which kind of facilities they give them, because we know they always treat them like they're second class citizens in Nigeria. But for me, when I heard that from the players, I just shook my head and I just said, the NFF is not ready, man. It's not, they're not ready. If we really say we want to reclaim our crown, we want to win the WAFCON, we want to be the best team in Africa again. And 2 months before the tournament, we are still doing like this. We are still not bringing our best legs together to practice, to play games, to get to know each other. It's going to be tough, man. What do you think, Speedline?
I think it's a tactic. Some of that's why I say that some of us don't read the handwriting very well. When Ibrahim Gusso had this press conference, when he was about to announce Elisha, they said that the witch cried yesterday. I don't know how they say the adage, the day before the announced Elisha, that press conference. You see that they went to go and play in France. The majority of those players are home based players. Look at how they competed with France. Look at what they did against France. That we should figure all this funny. So that is where I think that the agenda is coming from. Sorry, I just want to ask you, did you invite Christy Uchebe?
I believe so, yes, Chris is there.
Okay. So
But like what they did in the past,
uh
the foreign base that they invited the foreign base that started in the league.
in the league, yes.
Then they now invited the home based ones because
Yeah.
they want to say that, oh, if this person started in the league, look at where she is now.
Uh-huh.
Then why can't Osigwe make it there? Or
Uh-huh.
why can't Sunday make it there?
Uh-huh.
But I think Uchebe, I believe is there. Enadozie is there. Ajibade is there. I think I'm not sure
Voilà.
if this Monday is there. I don't think Oshuala is there. I don't have the full list, but I spoke to some players. I don't know exactly, but I know Uchebe, I know Ajibade, I know Nadozie.
What about Olivier?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Is do you think Ado's information has to do with the viral?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if that's the case, like I mean, even Ajibade said things, even Oshuala said things, I don't think Aloz Yezon can have to do it. Not right now. I wouldn't say it has anything to do with that.
Okay.
You know. But what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I think it's horrible. I said it before. Like, if you are producing talents that can compete, not bad. Look at how Sebastian Flourish was tearing the local league apart.
Hmm.
What's he doing now?
In Turkey. Hmm.
What's he doing now? Look at how that girl in FC Rubo is it the fair competition girl in the
Okay,
midfield?
Ajakare.
No.
Oh,
Was next?
Oyeneside.
It is it.
Esther.
Yeah,
Hmm.
look at what she was doing in the league. Look at Okweme Ikaye. I think she's back in the she's
She's
back in
back in
the
Nigeria now, yeah.
yes, she's back in Nigeria. So she was tearing, she was I saw her play, she was tearing the league again. So that did not do well in America. So if you look at those patterns very well, what is happening to our men's football is happening to the women's football now. The talents we are producing, I don't think they have the right education to actually what flourish, succeed directly. They still need to go through some few things. Look at the Monday gift. The Monday gift succeed straight away. It took her time to adapt well
Hmm.
before she started banging those goals. So if I just think that it's a big mistake. But for me, I don't trust Madugu. I will say it here. I know that people don't know he's a very good coach. I don't trust Madugu. See, if we will come for him, we will come for him. Let him go and let him crash at the group stage. He will come for him.
The same way, I just see my own thing is that I know that a lot of people in the media have their different agendas, have who they like, who they don't like, things like that. Um, I I know how people came for Randy Wardrum in 2022. They
Mhm.
seriously attacked this man. They called him a Nuga coach, everything. I'm not praying. I see. I have friends on the squad, so I pray that they succeed. But if they don't, I hope that people will keep the same energy. I was also very doubtful about Madugu until I spoke to like two different players that told me that IoT, this guy actually is a good coach. It just does not have any support. That's what they told me. They said it just does not have any support. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Even though obviously he is one of those coaches that is easier for the NFF to control. Um, it's easier for him to go along with whatever home-based agenda that they have, and a bunch of other things. So we're in a very, very precarious situation. We're in a very precarious situation. I don't think it is good preparation for us at all, honestly. I do not think so. I think that South Africa is doing more than us. I think that Morocco is doing more than us. I think that even Zambia is doing more than us. So for me, last time we finished fourth, even in that camp, there were issues, in 2023 at the World Cup, there were issues. 2024 at the Olympics, there were issues. 2025, there are going to be more issues. I interviewed about 3 or 4 different Super Falcons players after the Olympics. And one of the things that they kept on talking about is the team needs to stay together. We need to play games. We need to continue to learn each other and continue to grow together. I said it after um, the end of Randy Wardrum's contract. I did a video talking about his time, and I said that my biggest fear is that they are going to undo a lot of the work that he has done. Some people said, "Oh, I'm always making excuses for him." So far, it looks like they've already undone a lot of the work. They've undone a lot of the work. Again, I say, if you want to promote certain home-based players, you want to give them exposure, you want them to be seen, you want people to look at our local league and say this is a league that can thrive. I think that there are better ways to do it. There are ways that you can do this better without harming the team itself, without reducing, the strength of the team. And I really, really think that we can do a lot better. I really, really think that we can do a lot better. For me, I smile. I want to see when the squad announcement is made. I want to see exactly who makes the team. But from what I've heard from some players, it's going to be half home based and half foreign based, and
I think
that
we'll
does
drop
not.
Ashley. Ashley.
What do you say?
I think we'll drop Ashley.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's not there. I wouldn't be surprised if she's not there. you know. And somebody here saying, oh, if it's not what Smith Layi is saying, why do you think Alozie is not there? It's just because she's not the only one. She's not the only one that is being dropped. So that's the reason why I don't necessarily think it is a vendetta thing. They already made this decision like that it was not going to be a full team. That's why I said I don't know if it's a cost cutting thing for them. They just don't want to spend money on flying
Okay.
players in.
When we just start camping for the WAFCON?
After their season, the women's season is not quite over yet in some places.
Mm-hmm.
So after their season, then they'll get a little break. Then they'll resume camp for the WAFCON.
WAFCON is in July.
July 5th, that's when it starts.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll
Well,
see.
we
We'll
have
see.
to wait and see. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a shame, but we have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
We have to wait and see.
Don't answer
Uh,
it. Ask you a question. Go and do super
as he
chat.
said, I should give him on credit for super chats. He was asking if
Okay.
Ajibade will join Barcelona Feminine. She's not joining Barcelona, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Ajibade is not joining Barcelona. She has not signed with any club yet. I can tell you that much. She's still in negotiation with a couple teams.
But do you think that she's happy to leave Atletico?
Very,
Very.
very, very.
Do you think that
She's
do you think that they are happy to let her go?
not really. Is 50. She's a good player, one of their
Mm-hmm.
best, if not their best, for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was a marriage that had gone
Broken.
sour,
So
and Ajibade wants. she wants to move on to better things, both financially, both competitively, you know, everything is like,
Financial is very
and Atletico are not able to give her what she wants anymore. You
important.
know, she was even supposed to leave last year,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of begged her to stay. They begged her for one more season, so she gave them another season. And yeah, she loves her time in Atletico. Atletico gave her a big platform. Atletico gave her the opportunity to play in the Champions League, to play in the Spanish Liga F, to win trophies. So she's grateful for her time in Atletico, but it's about time. It's about time for her to move on. And whether the opportunity comes in England, whether the opportunity comes in the USA, we wait to see. We wait to see. But she's happy to be moving on because she has served her time. And it's one of those things where you are playing in Atletico, you are forever in the shadow of Barcelona, you are also now in the shadow of Real Madrid. Your club doesn't seem to be a club that they are not trying to compete with those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Each year they are losing some of their best players. They are not really bringing players that are at the same level. The club is not making those conscious efforts to really get better and get better. As a player that has a lot of ambition,
Yeah.
you can reach a point where you're like, the club is not matching your level of ambition anymore. But she has served her time. She lives there with her head held high. They love her in Atletico Madrid. A lot of the fans are very unhappy for her to be leaving. But it's not just her. I don't know if you saw the announcement.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 of their players are leaving them this season. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like Trent leaving Liverpool. Sometimes you get to a point where you say, I've done what I came to do, and it's
Mm-hmm.
time for me to go and explore any opportunity somewhere else. So let's see what happens. Someone says, I want her in England, not USA. We have to wait and see what happens. We have to wait and see what happens. But, for me, I always say when it comes to financial decisions in football, I back the women more than I back the men when it comes to it because the women make way, way, way less money than the men. What Osimhen makes in a week, 99% of Nigerian Super Falcons don't make in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if a player wants to go and make more money, I can't hold them too much. I repeat, what Osimhen makes in a week, 99% of the Super Falcons players don't make in a year.
Mm.
So it's different when you say, oh, Osimhen is chasing money versus when you say Super Falcons is chasing money. That's why I don't blame anybody going to Saudi. How many Super Falcons players have their own houses?
Mm. Mm. That's a big
You
goal.
know, how many of them have their own houses? Imagine you play a football career for 15, 20 years, you cannot even buy a house. So, and there's life after football, you know. But Ajibade is a very, very, very unique player, man. Unique player in terms of her ambition, in terms of what we've been able to do with her brand. Big announcements coming this summer as well in terms of branding, partnerships, things like that. Very interesting. It's been a pleasure to work with her. But yeah, don't worry. I'll keep you guys updated. The more concrete information that I have that I'm able to share, I'll share. But wherever she goes, just know that it's going to be a big deal wherever she goes. Somebody said, "Wow, it's a crazy thing the pay gap in football, man." I have players that reach out to me and say, "IoT, if you can help me see a club that will pay me even 80K, let me know." So, and that's in a year. That's not in So it's like players are not Super Falcons players are not making money. Are not making money. You know. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Okay. I'll post the link now. So if anybody wants to join us and share their thoughts, you can call in. But Smilai, let's just wrap up the conversation by talking about our Flying Eagles, our dear Flying Eagles. They finished with a bronze medal at the just concluded Under 20 Africa Cup of Nations. The team headed by Aliou Zubair. I believe that's if I pronounce his name properly. Captained by Daniel Bam Bam Bamei. Remember the most talked about player, probably our 15-year-old goalkeeper, Ebenezer Harcourt, and some other players that got a bit of spotlight there. finished with a bronze medal at the tournament, qualified for the U20 World Cup in Chile later this year. Smith Layi, what is your overview on the entire tournament? Bronze medal at the AFCON. What do you think?
Another, when you see that bronze medal is like our birthright, anytime, anytime we say, oh, let's go for the podium finish, and I saw that the president, the GCFR, uh, tweeted that well done the Flying Eagles, after they succumbed to brilliant South African side in the semi-finals. For me, youth football is more to me about development. That's why sometimes I rather watch under 17 than to watch Super Eagles. People don't know that. I rather watch Flying Eagles than to watch Super Eagles because I like youthful football. I love that. And sometimes when you watch beautiful football like this and you don't see what you want, it pains you. It pains me a lot. For example, now I see South African team, about five or six of them, European clubs are already looking out for them. How many of our players do you think European clubs can actually gamble on directly? Is it Daniel Bambam Bameyi that is when he's clear the ball, he will fall down, we split on the I'm just joking, he did well in that tournament. Do you think that Daniel Bambam Bameyi can play this modern day football? And just clear the ball anyhow, clear the ball anyhow. People should go and look at African defender. People want more. You see play like Taiwo West. Taiwo West played about 20 years ago. So, yes, so he says he's my mentor. You cannot be your mentor. You have to look at a different type of player to be your mentor now. Now, football don't pass that. So when I look at those players, I just realize that most of them are not good enough. And I said this thing that I don't know the purpose of the EFCC. Maybe they have to question the coach too. Just the government.
EFCC.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. No, EFCC question the coach because how can you go to a tournament with 5 defenders and 10 strikers? That means that there's an agenda there. 10 strikers and 5 defenders. That means that some of the strikers they wanted to sell some of the strikers. Allegedly. They should. They can. It's not as if I'm not asking them to arrest him. It's not
so
arrest.
they should call me for questioning.
Yeah, it's just questioning. Where's your account? Who transferred this money? That is all. Where's your account? Who transferred this money? Who's your assistant? How many houses do you buy? Have you purchased any house since 2 months ago? Have you been going to all these realtors about houses? Just asking when does they pay you salary? Things like that. Just small questions. But if he's found guilty, you should detain him. Yes, it should be detained there. So for me, I just think that I struggle to see players that can go to Super Eagles directly here. Isaac Ayuma, the midfielder, good player in his own right, but it's full of mistakes. At this age, when there's this use for exuberance, you must show yourself that I can do this. Look at our wingers. Our wingers, I've never seen terribly talented wingers like that before. Horribly, as like not. I would say that they are not gifted. Those wingers, I can't. I don't know how they got selected, but for me, that's why only Bam Bam Bameyi made the team of the tournament. Other people actually did not make it. And Bam Bam Bameyi, if you know taxes very well, you know that it's not a modern day centre back, because he doesn't get the height and he's clearly ball anyhow. He's not playing from the back, he's not doing anything. So for me, it's just another waste of tournament, for me.
But one of our wingers, Precious Benjamin, he plays for Hoffenheim.
So if he's play for us, I think he play with younger ones. Yeah, let him.
Under 19 now.
Yes, I know. Let him. He just got for all these transfers. So I don't believe them sometimes. Let him move from that and play for the first team. I mean, you have followed these guys now. Look at the guys that play for Genk. The boy scored 25 goals in like how many games? They sent him home. Do you think it's not good enough? There's some things that this European club look for. They sign him for the under 19, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Look at the goalkeeper that was in is it Croatia against South Africa? I told you, maybe it was rush of blood though. He went to go and nobody invited him. He went to go basic goalkeeping principles. So for
You're
me,
talking about Jakub.
Yakub, yes. So for me, I just think that so many things went wrong here. People talked about the left back, Okoro, did well. But against Africa, when he played against a very good player, that guy ran him ragged.
Hmm.
So, you just look at it and sometimes without they get level. So I just hope that this man can repent and see maybe we can select better players for the World Cup. And I want to say something to Adu Zubairu. I'm not saying he collected bribe, but you should look at those have been accused of collecting bribe in the past. If you look at how their life ended, so if you look at those ones and know exactly what to do
Hmm.
next time.
Okay, so now let's talk about goalkeepers now. For example, Ebenezer Harcourt saved three
Mm-hmm,
penalties in the shootout. All of
mm-hmm,
a sudden, it became the talk of everywhere on social
mm-hmm,
media. Some
mm-hmm,
people started saying it should be the third choice goalkeeper in Super Eagles.
mm-hmm,
For me, the first thing is that this is the problem that we have when we don't have proper progression in our national teams. The fact
mm-hmm,
that somebody just saves three penalties, all of a sudden, people start talking about
mm-hmm,
Super Eagles. Yes, the boy kept what three clean? Was it three clean sheets? He had or four in the whole
mm-hmm,
tournament. But
mm-hmm,
for me, I said this. I wasn't impressed by Harcourt in this tournament. I still felt like he wasn't confident coming out to claim balls. I still felt like he wasn't good on the ball. His shot
mm-hmm,
stopping wasn't that great.
mm-hmm,
The clean sheets that he kept, I'll give him some credit, but it was also largely a team effort and everybody just rallying behind him. In the first game against Tunisia, he made two saves. In the second game against Morocco, I believe he did not even have any save to make in that game, but it counts as a clean sheet. In the game against Senegal,
mm-hmm,
also missing that game, he made five saves. That's the game that he was most
mm-hmm,
active, before getting injured in the game against South Africa. The
mm-hmm,
thing is that even in that game against South Africa, everybody has been knocking the goalkeeper, Ajay Yakub, who came on and made the error that considered the goal. But Smith, if you remember, I texted you, I said, the same error that guy used to concede that goal is the same error that Harcourt used to get injured.
mm-hmm.
Cross comes into the box, you come for it when you don't have it, and unfortunately for Harcourt, his own led to an injury, but for Yakub, his own led to a goal. Harcourt
Mm-hmm.
still wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
It still wasn't good. It's just that the other goalkeeper was probably worse.
What?
you know,
What is
but
goalkeeper?
yeah, it's not like Harcourt was good. But I now look at it that okay, if we all of a sudden were clamoring for Harcourt to play in Super Eagles because he kept and saved three penalties. What of the other goalkeeper that came off the bench against Egypt and saved penalties in the shootout? Should we call that one to Super Eagles because that was the only minutes that one played in the tournament and we fire Abubakar. And I think
Mm-hmm.
he saved, was it two penalties he saved against Egypt or
Yeah,
three? I think two penalties.
two,
So,
two.
yeah, so for me, I'm like, is that how little you need to do for people to start telling you to come and play for the Super Eagles? So, personally, I wasn't impressed with any of the goalkeeping at all. I thought Harcourt was bad. I
Mm-hmm.
thought Yakub was worse. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the other one, all he did was penalty shootout. So, I cannot really judge him from penalty shootout. But, Smilai, what did you think about the goalkeeping?
For me, you have already, summarized the whole thing because we have been producing poor goalkeepers for so long, and this is another example of another poor goalkeeper. Alcott is not like a modern day goalkeeper. He cannot play with his legs. He's shortstop himself. You can see if you see against Kenya very well, you know that his short stopping is questionable too. So mistakes is always written upon him. Alcott. But the issue is that he was there to save two penalties against Senegal. That's why people, So for me, I think we can still manage Alcott. All those Rufai and Yakub should go away. They should invite two new goalkeepers.
I mean, the positive thing about Harcourt is that Harcourt is 15. So, is 15, is as far as I know. He is
Yeah.
15. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time he's going away from Nigeria in 3 years' time, when he
Mm-hmm.
turns 18, you want to hope that he would have developed more. He would have cleaned up some of the mistakes and the errors in his game, and he will
Mm-hmm.
be a better player. So that's the positive part, that he has more time to refine his game and to become a better player.
You
And
are
I,
a team.
I hope that he does. What do you say?
There's going to be a 17 camp opening very soon. Ask
Hmm.
Akot to go and do MRI there so that he can be our 17 goalkeeper. At least yes, it's good so I can grow very well.
I'm not his agent now. Maybe if his agent wants him
If
to
it's
go and check,
close now, we should go and do MRI in the 17 camp.
his agent might say that he has already played on a 20 now. So why would he now
No,
go and play on a 17?
Babaji repeated how many times? Babaji
Yeah,
plays like repeat over 20.
it's not by me.
Well, no, Babaji repeats now. So we can
I
take
know, but I'm saying Akot, him and Bame don't have the same plan in their career now.
with their teammates. So
Yeah.
funny,
Me,
funny.
I can only speak based on what I know.
Yeah.
Um, you know. But let's hope. Some people are saying, "Oh, when he gets older, he'll be better." We hope so. We pray so. I don't like. I personally don't usually like judging players based on um youth underage. I always tell my like, underage players, let me
Mhm.
see them in 5 years time, and then I can speak about it, because I have watched too many of our youth players for me to be excited about them, or for me to say one thing or the other about them, and then by the time they make it into Europe, their career stalls, and then they're now picking up. Look at our dear friend Igor Ogu. A lot of people were big on Igor Obu back then. It's just now that he's finally coming to his own at 25. And this is about the time where he's entering his peak. I don't see him going anywhere more than Slavia Prague right now. So if the
To me,
best course, what do you say?
yes, audio leads. If people are putting, say, it's going to lead.
Leeds United.
Yeah, yes,
Let's hope.
let's
Let's hope. I mean, our Leeds are in the Premier League now. Let's see if we can. It's going to be interesting to see, but I don't know how well they'll do in the Premier League. I wish him all the best. I like Igor. But for me, I just look at it that's Igor was what class of 2019 under 20. Um and
2019,
yeah,
2017 and 17.
mm, let's see, Sha. Let's see. Whatever happens, I like to judge players, you know, as they move on. Someone said Bame, a guy. I like Bame because he's a humble boy. He's a humble young boy that wants to get better, respectful boy, and he's trying in his life. That one has nothing to do with whether or not he's a good footballer, but he's just a very humble boy that has his head down. And I know that this is his chance now. He needs to leave Nigeria after playing in our 20 World Cup. He needs to leave Nigeria. But me like quickly, okay, the defense. Odinaka Okoro, that's the player that a lot of people have been talking about in the defense.
Mhm.
Do you think he is a player that has the potential to, you know, develop into a Super Eagles player?
Yeah, I think he's going to be getting called up for chance tournament.
Mm.
I think Unaka will get getting called up for chance tournament. I think for me, I think his major attributes also strength. He can hold on to the ball and also the way they push players too. So for me, he's the best out of that back line, Unaka. I think second best is the number 22, younger guy that played for Fayab. Is it Benjamin? Is it Shuku? Shuku, is it Shuku?
Chukwu Emmanuel.
Shuku Emmanuel. So I think Shuku Emmanuel and I think Shuku Emmanuel and Okoro.
Mm. Mm. How about in our midfield? Ayuma? Are you big on Ayuma? What do you think? Number 10.
So and they should not call that right back again. No. My guy, my Gary. They should not call him again. They should just saying that. In the midfield, I think Ayuma, did the basics, the basic things, passes and everything. Though sometimes clumsy, he needs to develop well. We need a player like that in Super Eagles. We don't have any player that can dictate the play in Super Eagles. I think
Mm.
he's worth getting, but sometimes wrong passes and everything. So I think Ayuma. I also like not Divine Odyssey. A lot of people are big on Divine Odyssey. I'm not really big on him. I didn't see what people actually what they said about him. I didn't see it there. I think Ayuma, I don't know. And one guy that is also there. Maybe the age might be slightly the problem. I think he's C15 or so. No, not 15. I think it's 17. So they call him Alabi. It's Alabi. Is it Kafra something Alabi? That midfielder for
Suleiman
me.
Alabi Jojo.
Yes, we remember Alabi. So I like him. I just think that Ayuma is the best player in that midfield.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. Why Ibrahim is not? People are saying that why Ibrahim. Nah,
mm.
he's
And
the
in the
most
attack,
expensive.
what do we think about the attack? I mean, Parubo Areri had a lot of hype going into this tournament. Only scored one goal,
Mhm.
But do you still think he has the highest potential? Is there somebody else in the attack that we're looking forward to seeing in the future?
For me, he's the one that has the potential to grow better and still develop. We can see that his movements, it's not a finished product. So let's get that one right. It's not a finished product. His movements, good movements of the ball. He also likes to take defenders on. Don't forget that he created one goal, clear opportunity against Kenya that Olise missed. He did some basic things too. So for me, I just don't know why the coach kept on benching him. I think that I've just trusted the guy, for all those games and to say wants to be benching him. He got the best potential. I just think that he needs to be deadly. I think this African striker is better than him and at the same age. I think that South African striker scored the winning goal against. I'm going to remember his name now. He scored the winning goal against the Congo. I think it's better because he does the basic work. So, and if you also look at some other strikers too, better than him. So, but I think that he can develop. Since he's no longer in Nigeria again now, he can develop and become a better player. I see him in 2 years' time being a very, very good player. He got that potential to be.
I'll ask you. So, why do you think we were finding it difficult to score goals, though? Like, why is it that in the whole tournament, I think we only scored 4 goals
Mhm,
across all the matches? Why do
mhm.
you think it was so hard for us to score goals?
So for me, I think one final thought. If you watch the game very well, when they move the ball to the final thought, it's like they have the rush of blood in their
Decision
brain.
making.
Making. I just think that most of them wants to play the gallery. Most of them wants to play this individual football. They want to play and impress the agents. They want to do all these things. So I think they're not really composed in the final thought. So I think they're being selfish in that final thought. That is one of the major problems, that the team has shown. For example, now there's a player like Kingsley Jefta. I don't know his business in that team,
Clinton Jefta.
Clinton Jefta, and also Bidemi Amole. I don't know the Amole. I think they say he's 16 years old. I don't know his business in that team. So, I just think that most of them are not fully developed players. So, and I think that it's bad on coaching. They were doing well against academic teams in Nigeria, but that is that level. It's okay. Now they are playing against African teams. Some of the players are playing the CAF Champions League. So the level is different. The level is different. So for me,
Because that South African boy that you mentioned, Malangu,
mhm,
the boy plays for Super Sports United. He has
mhm,
played games in the South African Premiership,
right,
so he's more developed, than
uh,
somebody that is still playing academic football or
academic
something.
football in Nigeria. So that is why I said that they should ban players in academic playing at 20. If you want to continue, before we don't used to have that. If you play academic player under 20, you will not win this tournament. And I can tell you that the reason why we still have academic players play at 20 is because of greediness. Agents don't want to release their players to Premier League clubs because they want to sell. They want to eat alone, they want to die alone. That is the problem. So they want to keep those players in the academy. Okay, they will now send all the money to the academy and everything. That is crazy. Young nearly finished Mamayi. He was young, doing nothing until Bayelsa took him. So for me, I think the NFF, if Ibrahim Gusso know what he's doing, the NFF should stop under 20 players from playing academy football. They should be playing pro, pro football. We can allow academy in under 15, under 17, not under 20. It's too bad.
Okay. We have a question here from Pai Moyo. Pai Moyo is asking, in this under 20 squad, who do you think will make it? So in 5 years' time, who would we be looking at and will say this player has grown and has developed?
I think Marubari will be for Super Eagles.
In 5 years, you think he can play for Super Eagles?
I think Parobo, I'm making a prediction now. Parobo will make the Kenya Tanzania AFCON.
In which year is that?
227.
Parubu Areri will play AFCON in 2027.
You know,
That's the next AFCON after this one.
based on- I
Hmm.
just think so.
Big prediction. Now he's a player for Lillestrøm, Abi, in
Mm-hmm.
Norway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our players have started in Lillestrøm. I mean, in Norway in particular, but some even in Lillestrøm as well. So let's
I
see. Okay,
Hello.
we'll come back to this in 2 years' time. Smith Layi said Parubu Areri will play at the 2027 AFCON. Okay, so that answers your question. And finally, before we take our caller, um, coaching. How would you rate the coaching at this
Zero.
tournament?
-5/10. You should meet me in the EFCC and collect the five is five is going me.
Oh my goodness.
For me, horrible coaching,
Hmm,
nothing that he's so outspoken, like, oh, hey, do this, it's like it's going to thrive more like a motivational speaker than being a coach.
hmm.
For me, horrible coaching. And people I know when he comes back to Nigeria, you cover his face up because he really messed up, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, guys. If you have any more questions for us, please just leave it in a super chat so that we can highlight it on screen. But for now, let us take our caller for this evening before we wrap up in maybe the next 4 or 5 minutes. Um, so yes, Mr. Dino, so welcome, sir.
Hello, my bros. How you guys doing?
We're fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, 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 good.
What do you want to talk about?
Now, you're on the 20 to start with.
Okay.
I agree with mostly, I would say, what you guys said. That team was kind of trying to cook like a stew with okwa. These are two things that does not really mix well. That does not make a good. That will not make a good finished food. You
Mm-hmm.
just bundle them together and expect a miracle to happen. What I noticed from their overall performance is that the more talented players in that team, we were not even able to see their potential much because majority of their players in that squad was not supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens with a team. You are as good as your overall contribution in that team. You can be the best in that tournament talent wise, but if you are very much flanked by players that are not supposed to be there, you will not be your overall productivity will not show. One thing I noticed with Ari Barabo is that the true balls that he was getting was either overheat or mistime. He was doing too much to compensate. When you look at the chances, I went back and looked at the chances that he skied that looked like, oh, he should have done something different. But when you look closer, you would notice that most of the ball was hit overhit by Jefta or Amule. So, um, in terms of the ones I believe that are very talented in that team, Ari definitely. Benjamin, when this team is hopefully by the grace of God reassembled into a more cohesive unit, the best attacking lineup that I'm seeing so far will be Benjamin and Ari playing together. Divine Olise, that individual reminds me a lot about Ogeni Onazi.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of him a lot. But you have in your hands a very unrefined Onazi. He is rushing things too much. That overcompensation, that is what is happening with that individual. Let's keep our mind open. If we if they reassemble a more cohesive team, you will see more of that guy. He is a defensive midfielder, I believe, but the rate at which he is pushing forward in that team, his ability to go box to box was natural. His decision making was all over the place because when you look at the players he's playing with, so I wouldn't really count him out yet. I wouldn't. When it comes to Chukwu, Emmanuel Chukwu, he is a super ego solid. That guy will move places. Okoro reminds me a lot about Babayero.
Hmm.
He is very natural. He is not even forcing himself. That guy is that good. When it comes to the goalkeeper, three of those goalkeepers has very positive attributes. I completely scratched out Yakub after that goal. It was a primary school error. It was a primary school error. But there was some things I noticed about him against Egypt that made me say, no, 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 no. The type of saves he's making and not spilling the ball makes me believe that Yakub is a talented goalkeeper.
Hmm.
Our number one Harcourt has the highest ceiling among those three goalkeepers. Do I see a future Super Eagle number one in Harcourt? Yes. I see a future Super Eagle number one in Harcourt. The ones that I'm praying that they don't make it to the to that championship. God, the right back. I'm not gonna use the name. That oh no, the way the left wingers was taking him on, they're very much riding his age right in front of all of our faces. He is age-wise, you know, IoT. No, no, they're your typical born again.
No, be me talk am o.
It's a born again. We have in that right back. Jefter doesn't know when to cross the ball, when to dribble. It's almost like he dribble his opponent, he dribbles himself, he comes back to his opponent, he dribbles them and turn around again and want to dribble them one more time. That is not football. That is not football at all. The number 10 guy has talent, has a very great composure. He has the composure of a creative holding midfielder. Defensively, I wouldn't count on him. If you're to play that kind of player, you need to have Divine Olise and another Divine Olise that can very much cover his defensive lapses. Over to the Falcons. Mhm. It's a caricature. It's a pure caricature that is happening there for a team that has not played. When was the last time our Super Falcons played together?
They played against France. When was it? I can't remember exactly, but that was
Almost
their
like
last.
getting to a year.
The game against France was in November.
Okay. And you have AFCON coming on. and you're doing 12 home base, 12 foreign base. Does that make sense at all? You have a lot of players out there to, get together to start building what Waldron has built with that thing. And they're completely washing away all the great hard work this guy has put into create that team. I don't think our Super Falcon has an identity at the moment.
Mm,
They don't. That identity that they were able to establish under World Drum has already almost vanished.
mm,
So it comes down to, but at the same time, we are very blessed with talents more than any African team.
mm,
The very positive thing I would say that is happening with the Falcons, and hopefully it doesn't end up us being surprised with some of them even drop from AFCON. I will not be surprised. You have Gift Monday very much reinvigorating her career in US here. You have Rinsola Babajide doing extremely well in Spain, I believe Tenerife. And you have arguably one of my top pick in that attacking lineup, Edna Imade, very much improving day by day, leap after leap.
mm,
Esto Kronko is doing marvelous. A lot of our girls in Europe or wherever they are playing are all doing well, irrespective of the mismanagement.
mm,
Um, Alozie said what all of us has always known that is happening. Um, Many of the players, men, women, that has come out and said that there is a consistency as to what happened to them. You know it, IoT. Yes, it is yet to be proven. We're looking out to see what will happen.
mm.
You know what happened to Aparanozie when she stood up.
I have to let you go, Mr. Dunan. So, but the one thing that I will say now is, speaking to a lot of the Super Falcons players, the Super Falcons today are far more united in terms of what they believe and what they want from the NFF than ever before. Before was the time where, as much as maybe one person is speaking up, the rest of the people are not there to back them up. But now, the Super Falcons are very united. If Alozie speaks up, Ajibade is backing her up. Oshuala is backing her up. Inadozie is backing her up. The rest of the players and the thing is, we're also at a good point whereby a lot of the bigger players in the team, the popular players in the team, are speaking up and are backing those that are speaking up. So it makes it a bit harder because, for example, now, if you drop Ajibade, everybody's going to know that something is going on. If you drop Alozie, everybody's going to know that something is going on. If you drop Chamaka, everybody's going to look at you like, are you crazy? And everybody is speaking up, everybody's backing them up. So I think that's one of the major differences. With all due respect to somebody like, before Ebionome was the captain of the team, Ebionome was a friend of the NFF, so to put it lightly.
Mhm.
So if one player speaks up, by the time they call on Onome, no be waiting we talk with this. So all of a sudden now that player is isolated, is on their own, and nobody wants to be in trouble. The really, really younger players, they don't have any say because they never even established their place. How do they want to come and be fighting? But we're at a point whereby now some of the top players are speaking up and are supporting those that are speaking up. So I really believe that Alozie should not face any kind of consequence for her comments. But at the same time, we cannot put anything beyond the NFF. We have to wait and see how it develops. But for me, they need to make a lot of changes in terms of organization before we go to this WAFCON. But thank you very
I,
much
I,
for that
I
part.
agree with I agree with your point. I wish that unity exists in the Super Eagles. The last time I was here, I said something about Osimhen. You can cry for over spilled milk and everything, but in reality, I think Osimhen has gotten to the point that he can be able to use his status to say, "I want to go to World Cup. Please do not invite the mediocre players around this team." He
Mm,
has gotten to that point. If you spoke to the coach, I would have expected more in that squad that was called up for that Rwanda, Zimbabwe.
mm,
It is your legacy. Osimhen has the voice. He needs to use that voice.
mm,
And I think he is the only one in that team that can do that
mm,
for his own sake and legacy.
mm. All right.
All
Thank you
right.
very much. Nice to hear from you. All right.
All right. Are you?
Thank you.
See and Smith.
Okay. Humble Larry, you came late, but you have 2 minutes, please. What do you want
Yes,
to say very
yeah,
quickly?
just only three things.
Okay.
Um, let's also continue to pray for Awoni for quick recovery and the other Super Eagles players who are injured for them to get quick recovery. Secondly, Osime have done it. I'm happy if I see a player that is very passionate to play football, not the people that will be looking for money, not the people that their angels will tell them, rush, go for the money. Develop yourself, discipline yourself, the money will come. Then third, the flying eagle. Yes, I support what Smith said. I think the coach needs to be arrested.
Dude,
Yes,
arrested, but you don't even know if he did anything now.
yes, 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 yes. I'm serious about it. Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus said, doing ordinary things with extraordinary determination. Ordinary things matters. Not when they give you little things, you can't handle it. It's even when they give you the big things that you can handle. No, the little things they ask you to do, you couldn't handle it. Now, if they give you big things, can you handle? And I saw some of the media. In fact, I'm going to unfollow that person. I will unfollow the person. You are coming and be telling us that Bame is the future. IoT, for example, in your life, have you repeated class in your life?
I've not, but
You,
I know plenty of people that have.
okay, okay. For example, you have never repeated any course, like one course you have never repeated any course, right?
I've taken a course
Okay.
again.
The first time you took the course, you didn't do well. The second one, did you do well?
Yes, yes.
Now, somebody that went to the World Cup, you see the way I'm thinking now. Someone that went to the World Cup and now also repeating class. He's not even improving, no improvement,
Hmm.
nothing. Let's be honest to
You don't
ourselves.
think Bame has improved from last time?
I use the word God forbid. What did I use?
Yes.
God forbid. Look at the God that scored them against Egypt now. I think he is the leader of the defense.
Yeah.
He have never. And the people that are promoting him continue. God is watching. Yes, that team, those players. I'm telling you, the coach, he have to be questioned. How can you go to midfielder 6 players, defense 5, attackers 10? None
Hmm.
of them, nothing. Those people that are saying the keepers are good, you will see them in India.
Hmm.
I'm telling you. Look at South Africa. Look at their players. Belgium are calling them. Can you say that Belgium will be calling some of us? No.
Hmm.
We'll be the one rushing for Belgium. Please take them now. Begging. But before they were the one begging us.
Hmm.
Arsenal, we are begging Wakali. Valencia, we are begging Chukwueze, Osimhen, all of them. Liverpool, we are begging Awoniyi. Manchester United, Manchester City, we are begging, was begging Ihanacho. Can they come now and say they are begging us? Therefore, there's no talent. As Smith said it.
Humble
I
Harris,
reckon
yeah. We
it
don't
is.
have time to cover all these
Yeah,
things. But tomorrow is your day because tomorrow we're doing Wahala Day. The main topic for tomorrow is we're going to debate whether agents are ruining grassroots football for Nigeria. I know that that's your topic. So, Humble Larry, make sure you
yeah,
join us tomorrow on
no
time
problem.
so that we
Yes.
can debate that properly. You know,
Yeah.
just that today, Smith Layi has to go. So, we're out of time
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
But
Thank you
thank
so much. Yeah.
thank you very
You're,
much, Uncle Larry. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Um, so yes, there we have it, guys. Humble Larry, sorry we had to cut you short. But tomorrow, guys, join us at 10 p.m. Nigerian time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Central European time. Wahala Day, second edition. The last one we spoke about Tolu Arokodare. This one we're going to talk about grassroots football in Nigeria. Is it being ruined by agents and maybe even by coaches? Because Mitlai said, may EFCC investigate our coach. So we'll get into that. If you have an opinion on that, feel free to come and share your thoughts. If you want to join the show tomorrow, please send a message, leave a comment, let us know that you would like to be part of it tomorrow so that we can prepare for you. But the topic is, are agents ruining grassroots football for Nigeria? Why can we no longer find or discover or develop talents like we used to? That is that for tomorrow. But for tonight, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. We've covered a lot of topics. These things, whenever I always feel like, oh, okay, we don't have that many topics today. It's not going to go that long, but we end up running far longer than I imagine. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for engaging with us. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you have not liked the video yet, please make sure you hit the like button. Share with your friends. Let other people get tuned in. Let other people find out about the Nigerian FC podcast. Let other people find out about Eagle Striker. We have exciting content coming up. Another ET ranks video coming up, and then more interviews that are supposed to come up. Thank God the season is ending now. So some of the people that have been trying to interview that have been busy for one reason or the other, schedule should start freeing up. Of course, the Super Eagles are in action this month versus Ghana and versus the winner or loser of Trinidad and Tobago versus Jamaica. We'll be doing watch alongs for those matches. Super Falcons are in action also against Cameroon May 31st and June the 3rd. So Super Falcons and Super Eagles are playing on the same day, May 31st. So it's going to be an interesting day. And of course, we're looking forward to a lot of transfer rumors from this summer, confirmed transfers as well. We're looking forward to WAFCON this summer and the new season in August. Football, time flies, or non-stop, non-stop. Before we know it, new season has come again. Lots to talk about. Another season of Naija FC Podcast will come in August. But thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate you. Smith Lai, final word?
Thank you guys for also being there. Fantastic edition. I thought that we're going to spend like 1 hour, 15 minutes or so, but we never know. The conversation, from Victor Osimhen to different players to the 20, fantastic. Thank you guys for the podcast too. Thank you for joining. King, is it Kim Yu? But imagine we Captain Super Eagles and congratulate him and you together. Thank you. Thank you for being there.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Of course, this is the Naija FC Podcast. As always, my name is AyoT and my co-host is.
Like, thank you
See
guys.
you on the next